All right, Frank, I hate to break it to you. You don't look that great.
Camera's over there.
Hey.
Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome to Drinks with Johnny. I'm very excited. I've already started the conversation here with my old friend. You guys know him from Bad Wolves, God Forbid, and his own solo stuff. The man, Doc Coyle. How you doing, brother?
I'm happy to be back.
Dude, I'm so happy to have you back here.
We're
I know it's going to be a good time.
We're having middle-aged men discussions.
Don't tell me what we were talking about before the cameras roll.
I'm sorry. We were talking about the times of youth, and what it's like to be young men as ourselves.
Just starting out in our careers,
Hey, listen, there is no yesterday. It's only today, baby.
It's absolutely right, man. Dude, again, super excited to have you. You know that.
Thank you.
We've been able to run into each other a few times since we saw that, and we'll get to that in a second. But before we go any further, I got to ask you, what do you want to drink, man?
It's morning time, so I'd like an espresso martini to wake me up.
Oh, morning time. 11 o'clock in the morning is morning time for Doc Coyle.
Yeah, so, I don't have children, all right? I got one child.
I'm like, I've been up for like 6 hours already.
Yeah, you ready to pack it up?
All right, so espresso martini, right?
Yeah.
All right, let's get that going.
Some of us have to still live like the rock and roll lifestyle.
I know, man. I get that every time, man. People are like, you used to be a rock star and then you stopped drinking, and it's not the same anymore.
Well, I don't know. See, I think what being a rock star truly is distance from consequences, right? So
distance from consequences,
right?
Okay.
So you can't really be a rock star and be broke, okay? Because the bill comes due, and next thing you know, you like, all right, I can't pay rent, all right? Distance from consequences means I can throw the TV out the window of the hotel, and you just snap your fingers at some tour manager, and they come and they drop the black card, and no one even thinks about it, okay? Or when it comes to the partying, you just you do your thing, you just show up, you've seen the Motley Crue movie, right?
Yeah, the Dirt.
Right? Yeah, in the the whole Tommy Lee in one day, what he does, it's the consequences for the actions are not relevant, all right, until one day they are, and you're like, you know what, no, I can't, it's not, and that's when it's the mythology kind of fades away.
Well, I have a theory about that. I'm glad we started right off this because it's so funny. I was just thinking about this the other night. I'm glad you brought up specifically the Motley Crue Dirt one, because I wasn't expecting to talk to you about it, but it's just a thought, right? And we've both been around the industry for 20 plus years now. You a little bit longer, and in that we've met all these people we're talking about, even some of the guys from Motley Crue, and we've lived a little bit of those lives as well and been around it. So I always wonder how much of it's fabricated, because I'm not saying that they weren't crazy. I'm not taking anything away from them. Everyone pump the brakes. But I know when it comes to making movies, when it comes to telling stories, we like to fabricate a little bit sometimes.
Sure.
So how much of it do you think is put into that? And also, let's not forget that if these guys were that fucked up, I've been fucked up before in my life. I'm pretty sure you have too. They ain't remembering any of that shit, and they're the only ones in the room that are covering it.
Well, listen, I would probably guess that things are enhanced. But here's what you gotta remember. One, it's the 80s, all right? There's no cell phones.
This guy's got a point.
There's no there's no one on Twitter to basically blow your spot up. You could get away with murder, and basically there was, no one would know. Don't quote me on that.
You went dark as fuck.
I mean, metaphorically, get away with murder. But what I'm saying is, so remember that it's the 80s, and these guys were young, and big, they were bigger than anything. And It wasn't just them, we're honing in on that one band, but there's probably 10 bands that you could probably put in a lot of those stories and have had similar experiences. True. And I think it was, basically from the mid to late 60s to the mid 90s, that period of time, it was just all out. People were going for it. And it was they said they didn't have behind the music yet. They didn't know how the story ended.
They didn't know that it was going to happen. Okay.
So
you may be right. I get it. I'm saying.
Yeah. And it's culture. It's culture. It's the hippies, right? That was an era where people lived a certain way and they had a certain ethos and everything, a lifestyle going along with that. And then we look back and some people go, oh, that seems weird, or I don't really connect to that. But at the time, that's what they were doing. And I think the idea of the 80s rock star and the excess and the, there we go. Isn't that beautiful? Let's see.
Continue though as you.
I need to savor this, all right? Because listen, espresso martinis are not all created equal. You go some places and it's hitting, some places you're like.
I was very glad that you asked for that, because not only did I just happen to have all those drinks there, but.
Down the road. But it does.
Didn't you do that? Didn't you do that the last time with the French 75?
You know why? Because I'm trying to talk.
This makes my drink look so terrible.
No, it's really good. I'm trying to talk and drink at the same time, and just shouldn't do that. So, no, it's really good actually. I'm gonna get another sip. That's awesome.
Thank you.
That's really, really
it's one
good.
of the recipes from my wife.
There you go.
But I did enjoy that drink. It's a fucking good one.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make myself a drink too while we continue, but
Love it.
keep going, man.
So no, I just think it's like, it's a time and a place. And then now, like, I think some younger generations might watch movies like The Dirt or see, like dudes in their 60s rave about all those crazy things they do. And they kind of look at you with a little side eye. And they go, Dad, that's problematic, And they ain't wrong. No. But again, everything has a time and a place, and that's okay, So, but I have like a lot of kind of, I think for a long time had an infatuation with the mythology of rock and roll, and kind of, living like an outlaw, living like not being a nonconformist, like just all the stuff that came along with it. Like
I would imagine it's the same kind of stuff that most of us gravitated towards when we wanted to play music, and specifically in the genre that we chose, right?
Like you got to meet Lemmy, right?
No, I never met
You never got to meet Lemmy.
No.
But Lemmy kind of, died on his shield.
Right.
He never changed his lifestyle. He did actually ultimately end up having a kid, but basically was still hanging out at the Rainbow and still
that aspect.
doing.
I heard that, yeah.
But just his lifestyle never really changed, and part of me, like, there's a, so I kind of romanticize that a little bit. Maybe in the wrong ways sometimes. No,
I do too, and that's some of the things I love, and you're right, because I mean, like, growing up watching Val Kilmer play Jim Morrison in the Doors movie, that was something I emulated too, and like, obviously that's going to be fabricated too. I mean, that's more of a biopic than anything.
You saying he didn't walk in the desert with a naked Native American?
Oh no, I guarantee that that was real. That was fucking real. Him and Mike Myers in Wayne's World 2.
Absolutely.
Cheers, brother.
Wayne, if you build it, they will come.
So, man, on that note, let's move on. We already covered that. I'm not saying, again, I just want to reiterate, I'm not saying that Motley Crue weren't fucking nuts and party and everything like that, or any of those other bands that they were. Actually, I'm just curious as how accurate.
I have a funny kind of related story to that. John Berkland, drummer from Bad Wolves and Devil Driver, one day challenged Ken Susi from Unearth, and he goes, I think you're a fake partier. He's like, I don't think you really do it like you did. And so then Ken Susi took John and just started going shot for shot with him. He's like, how dare you besmirch my honor as a partier? And he drank John under the table. So shout out to the legend, Ken Susi. Currently playing with As I Lay Dying.
He's with As I Lay Dying now?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome, man. I didn't know that. You mentioned John there, though. Yes. I had the pleasure of meeting him when you guys did the acoustic performance.
Yeah.
At Jose Mangan's spot here in Orange County.
Thanks for coming to that, by the way.
Dude, of course, dude. When I heard about it, I was like, of course, that sounds awesome.
Hopefully we didn't poison your ears with our butt rock anthems.
The butt rock anthems are my favorite part. What are you talking about? Now, I had a fun time hanging with John. He could put down some drinks, too. We were putting down some drinks and talking. He was making me laugh quite a bit. We got to have him on the show too. And next time, or maybe when you come back, he'll come too. We're in talks with that. He's a real funny guy.
I feel like, don't you think that about bands though? That like behind the scenes, you get to, like every band is just filled with comedians. We're all just like frustrated. Like half of being on tour is just doing funny stuff and making each other laugh. And,
you have to. I think you nailed it right there. It's because we've been on fucking tour. Like you're around these fucking people. They're your best friends. Or, at least you're fucking forced to be around them, depending on the situation. And, you're just trying to entertain each other and, like, you're always one upping the ante too. I think anyone at home could relate it to their group of friends. You know what I mean? It's the same thing.
I think it's super important to be friends. Like we get off like Bad Wolves, we get off tour and we're like, you know, we have like a little, what we doing? You guys doing? You know, I think the camaraderie part is like essential.
I agree. Have you experienced that in all of your bands that you've been with? Because you've been with a lot of different acts.
I mean, to me, it's like, dude, I could do like sometimes I'll do these jams at like the Whiskey, the Ultimate Jam Night, and I'll put a little band together, right? And it's like, for that day, we're in a band. We're a band. Like, it's like we're a team, and I really take that stuff seriously, you know, of like, you know, maybe it's just like old sports basketball stuff, just like, yo, you know, it's like, we put on the white shirt.
Yeah.
We're white against the blue team, you know, and it's like, all right, and I just think that's really important in like bonding. You can't just be up there and be separate kind of islands.
I agree.
You know, you have to connect, you know, on a different level. You have to like, you know, it's egalitarian. You have to put the collective above your own kind of, you know. Look at me, because we all got that little. Look at me.
We didn't get into this without a little bit of that.
Where's spotlight?
There's lights and cameras in my house. Like,
we all didn't get enough hugs.
yeah, we weren't loved enough as
Pay
children.
attention to me. You know, but we all have that little thing. But you know, what's the word? Synchronicity. You know, where, you know, things, you know, the sum of its parts are always better than the individuals.
Absolutely.
You know, I always thought God Forbid was a band like that, where individually, I don't think any of us was like some genius level talent, but you put it all together and then something much more interesting than any of us could have done on our own, you know. Happens.
Right. I think that's it. I mean, I agree with you. That's all I can say on that. It's absolutely true. You bring, and I think I will say one thing further is I think that the audience can pick up on that.
Yeah.
At this point, they can tell like when there's a band up on stage and they're having fun and they're all on the same page versus a band that's not.
Yeah.
You know, like they might still give the appearance because no one's going up there unless it's, you know, they're really pissed at each
Depends how
other.
big the stage is. All right.
Yeah, they could be separated.
I'm like, man, guys, you like, I would never know if the guys in Tool like each other. That's a big
True.
stage.
Well, they don't move though.
That's what I'm saying. But they sound good.
They sound fucking amazing, dude. I've been watching Tool for fucking. I think my first concert, I was in high school when I saw them at the Long Beach Arena. And that was the first band that I saw live that I just was blown away on their musicianship.
Yeah.
Rather than, like, I'd seen Metallica, everything like that. Metallica, great musicians too, don't get me wrong. It's just a different level of musicianship.
It's a totally different.
It's a different vibe. The concert itself is a completely different vibe.
They're like painting with their music.
Yes.
You know, it's soundscapes, it's hypnotism.
Yeah.
You know, it's a different, and also with their production and the
sound
visuals. Yeah.
is so fucking good.
So, well, I mean, I think that's also a testament to like, I don't know how early you started going to shows, but I remember like seeing like my first show was like Pantera, White Zombie, Deftones, right?
That was your first show ever?
Yeah, yeah, like in a massive, you know, like arena where like the New Jersey Nets used to play. I'm sure you guys maybe played there back in the day, but I remember just loud and, you know, cacophonous, but it like live sound and the technology of being able to go to like seeing Metallica on their like stadium tour, and you're like, this sounds amazing. Like stadiums, shouldn't sound this good, but
right?
The technology in like arenas and massive venues and festivals just blows me away.
Dude, let's get into some of the stuff that you've
Sure.
been doing since the last time you were on the show. You mentioned Metallica being on stadiums. You joined Ice Nine Kills for a minute there. You still with them, or was that more of a fill-in thing?
No, it was like 5 months, but maybe 6 months with like all the rehearsals and everything. But it was like kind of just this wild thing where Dan, the guitar player, had a health scare. So they brought me in, and I was gonna play lead guitar, but we were like there was just no time to really learn this stuff. So they brought in another guy to play lead guitar. This guy Miles, who actually is from out here, Miles Dimitri Baker, awesome. And so it was just so we ended up having 2 fill-ins. So I was just playing rhythm, singing all their high-ass harmony parts, and dude, it was awesome. I mean, obviously doing the stadium tour with Metallica is like out of control, but just those guys, the nicest people. So professional, such insanely high-level musicians. Like every guy in the band plays piano and sings and records and puts out their own solo records, and they're all hilarious. And it was just really me being a movie fan too, just kind of being in that world, and like we would part of their VIP in Europe was horror movie trivia. So I was just like every day I was like trying to win, but you can't beat Spencer.
I was just gonna ask.
Has he been on here?
Yeah, he's been on a couple times. I'm good friends with Spencer. I love Spencer.
I think he has a photographic memory because he's
a smart dude.
He'll do. This is beyond smart. This is some
I guess you're right.
This is some savant stuff where he can do entire monologues from movies, like word for word with
on
the
inflections.
Spot, too. Yeah, like that's
it's not like it's premeditated. He's pulled it out on the show here when he's been on. We've been talking about it. Maybe this will be the year. We were talking about doing just like a horror month of October and covering a bunch of stuff.
You never know when you're gonna find a coffee bean.
Hey, you gotta have the fresh garnish.
Should I just eating it?
I don't know, man. It's your drink.
Beans with Johnny.
Beans, Johnny Bean. No, but it's funny because you mentioned because he has such a knowledge of all this stuff. He's an encyclopedia of movies and specifically horror. So we were talking about having him on and doing like just horror fucking 4 weeks.
Are you a big?
Like
is that? I mean,
yeah. I'm big. There's levels to this.
I'm
not up on the level of Spencer.
Yeah.
I'm more of the 80s and 90s horror movies. The blockbusters of the 80s and 90s were kind of my thing.
Did you watch those In the Search of Darkness documentaries?
Search of Darkness. That sounds super familiar.
Dude, you have to watch these documentaries. They're great. There's two of them just basically on all the horror movies of the 80s. And they're like 2 or 3 hours long, and it's like they kind of spotlight all the kind of like ones.
What's this on?
I don't even know if it's anywhere. Like I discovered it through like Kickstarter, and you would get like pay for a digital download or something, and really I think you can buy the Blu-rays though. I'll send you a link.
All right.
Right. VC Creator. They also have a series on 80s sci-fi. 80s action movies, and they just did one on aliens, like a 5-hour documentary on aliens.
Oh.
I fucking injected into my veins.
Have you seen the new Aliens yet?
Amazing.
Is it good?
I think it's incredible.
Okay.
Easily the third best in the
third best. What are your first two?
Aliens, then Alien, then this one. Then I'd probably put Prometheus slightly ahead of Alien 3.
Okay. Which is the one that Danny McBride did?
That is Alien Covenant.
Covenant.
It's a well-made film, but I just have issues with it. But I still if it's on, I'll watch it. And but it's beautiful. It's still, Ridley Scott and great performances. Visually, it's incredible. There's things I like about it, but there's things I just wish they would take a different direction. But I'm still
okay.
I'm an alien dude. I got alien tattoo right here. All right.
Yeah.
I will.
We talked a little bit about a couple of your tattoos last time, but Alien definitely.
Did I have this one?
You had that one. Okay. I love.
I haven't got. I
love They Live. That's one of my favorite fucking.
I'm trying to get new tattoos, and then my lady is like, I'm just like, yeah. I'll spend like this much. And she's like, yeah, don't do that. And I'm like, okay.
But we were talking about the stadium tour and being with Ice Nine Kills there too. You mentioned the rest of the guys and your experience there with the Ice Nine Kills guys. What about being out there with Pantera and Metallica? And was it Pantera or Five Finger, or was it both?
So the day we were on was Five Finger, but because Ivan had a hernia, I think something, he had surgery. They ended up missing the European tour, so we had who was out with us? Epica, and then Floor Jansen, the singer from Nightwish, opened up. So they were awesome. They crushed it. And then we got in the States. Then Five Finger joined up with us, and then I never got to catch the other day, except in Europe. Yeah, Europe. I got to see him. It was Architects and Wolfgang Van Halen. Mammoth WVH.
Yeah.
So, dude, yeah, it was. I mean, just I'm close with Metallica guys. I play with them in a band, and
the wedding band.
The wedding band. That's right. We haven't played in a while, so but they're a little busy.
No.
They're just doing a stadium tour. They'll be
just a gigantic stadium.
Hopefully, we'll get back to it next year. But yeah, just being a part of that. I mean, it's like you're because there's not that many shows, right? They do 2 a week. And they, you know, it's these very specific things, and each one feels like its own special event.
Which I think is so cool.
And what was really cool about it, like, I remember I opened for Metallica in '09 with Lamb of God, doing like, you know, arenas and stuff, and it was cool, but it was like, you know, Lamb's a pretty heavy band, and you're like, some of the people got it, some people didn't, and I was like, I wonder if people are gonna be into Ice Nine Kills, because it's like we're wearing tuxedos and this is weird thing, and the music's a little different, dude. People, like, you got there, they were so happy. They would
Even in Europe?
Dude, losing their minds.
Wow.
And I think a lot of it, you know, obviously Ice Nine Kills is a popular band, they're doing well, but I think the event of that show, it was just like people were just filled with joy and happy to be there, and just it was like, and when we were in Europe, I was like, oh, we're gonna be spoiled. They're not gonna be this excited when we get to America, and they were just as excited.
See, I would have thought it the other way around though, because having toured with Metallica in both instances, Europe was a lot harder, bigger, harder nut to crack as always.
Dude, I think it had to do with the way that stage was set up. Because, dude, you're right there. Mm-hmm. They're not a million miles away. Because I went to that show. You guys played at the Rose Bowl.
Right.
And it's like you guys were, it felt like you were kind of over there.
Yeah.
You know, it was harder to connect, but you're like.
Yeah, we were the guinea pigs. We were the guinea pigs for Metallica doing their stadium tours, and then they came back and did it with these guys.
It's my guinea pigs. I saw Summer Sanitarium. It was Limp Bizkit, Linkin Park, Deftones, Mudvayne, 2003.
Okay, 2003. I did Summer Sanitarium at the Coliseum. It was Kid Rock and System of a Down.
Yeah.
That was insane.
Yeah. No, I was, you know, there's been a few days.
I know, yeah.
Or technically you could say, what was it, the tour, the Ultimate Tour, GNR, Metallica, and I think it was like Faith No More.
The co-headliner, and Suicidal.
Yes, well, it was like they split it up.
Suicidal on that too?
Parts of it, I think, but it was like, because I think they mixed up the openers, but I think Soundgarden opened some parts, Faith No More, and I think Body Count might have opened.
So what you just did is just make me feel even less about
But I didn't go to that. I didn't go to that. But it's like, you don't see those like old packages, you're like, I wish I could.
Oh, dude, the old t-shirts. That's why there's places like Grail, like online right now where you can go get those old t-shirts and they're like $700.
Dude, there's a store in Nashville that, you know, sells vintage stuff, and it's like an intuned long sleeve from like 1995, and it's $700. I'm like, go fuck yourself. I will.
If I just hung on to all those shirts from T-Shirts Plus at the fucking mall, you know.
No, but I'll say this about that place: they're all in flawless condition.
That's good.
But I saw that. I was like, I'm gonna do some Ocean's 11 shit. All right, I'm gonna part you with all your stock for charging this unreasonable prices. The only one I thought about buying was this really sick White Zombie one.
And you just got done saying White Zombie was your first concert.
With Pantera, yeah.
With Pantera, yeah. That's a pretty good first one.
Oh yeah, Electric Head, audience, yeah!
The martini is definitely kicking in.
Listen, I rep those, you know, Las Exorcisto and the record after that are like all timers for me. Actually, the new Rob Zombie record is fucking really sick.
I haven't heard it yet.
Dude, it's more metal, and the guy who produced Determination by God Forbid, Zeus, and did, you know, Hatebreed and Shadows Fall and Whitechapel and all these bands, he's producing Rob Zombie now, and it's crushing it. Shout out to Zeus.
I'll check it out.
Really good.
Speaking of some other things we got to talk about and check out since we've been going is you got some solo stuff doing.
I do.
The first time.
Well, it's people, you know, it's so funny. So it's a song. It's one song. It's a cover song of "Living on the Edge" by Aerosmith.
Right.
And I did a crazy music video based on the movie Falling Down.
Is that where the inspiration? Okay.
Yes. You didn't know you.
So I kind of saw Falling Down, but I mean, I like to go into these things like without any knowledge before and just get my honest opinion on it and my honest, you know, just look at it. I'm fucking watching it, and your getup was like, it was almost Mormon-esque, but then as the video started going, I was like, is he doing an homage to Die Hard with a Vengeance? Was that a Samuel?
Yeah, like, a little, very similar.
And then, you know, as we'll get into the content of the video here, but then I thought that, so I missed Falling Down.
You can do, it's like Nation of Islam guy, Mormon guy. It can be a few different things, but and it's also I'm going to be like doing a lot of posting. You gotta post, baby. But I'm like, who wore it better? And are you a fan of Key and Peele?
Yes.
And so you know the teacher who's
yeah.
Ron.
Yeah.
Same get up.
That is true. That one didn't come right up.
It's a popular trope. You know.
You wore it well.
Well, thank you. I was wearing it yesterday. All right. It's you gotta be down for the cause. But anyway, like I did this thing like 2 years ago, and it was supposed to be a Bad Wolves song, but then Bad Wolves didn't want to use it, and so I was like, I'll keep it for myself with no real plans. And then I got the idea for the music video, and it just came to me. It's like from the universe.
The muse came, and
I was like, I have to. No, but I don't know if have you ever had a thing where it's like something was telling you like you have to do this. And by the way, it was like spending money I probably shouldn't have spent. Just like I was like something was compelled me like I have to do this. And then I was trying to get it out, but I just got busy. I got because Bad Wolves was putting a record out, and I didn't want to like put something out and compete with like the new Bad Wolves single. So I was being like respectful of the band. And then I got busy with Ice Nine Kills, and I was trying to put it out. And then our label, Better Noise, they're like, oh, we want to release this and maybe do like an EP of original music. And I just didn't have time. I was so busy with my 50 million projects. I didn't have time to like write and record new music. So I was like, let me just get this thing out there. And so I'm like, really, like, you know what? I would just want people to know about it. And it's like, and I don't know how much people who are not in the industry understand, but right now, there's more music and music videos and content being made than ever, right? So the hardest thing is not necessarily making something. The hardest thing is getting anyone to pay attention to it. So I've just been like, I'm like, let me put all these resources and time and energy into like, see if I can actually get people to pay attention to it. So that's why I'm here, all right? I'm selling my wares.
Yeah, I'm glad you came here to talk about it. No, seriously. And I love the cover, by the way.
Thank you.
I was listening to it, and just on the music side of it, again, I saw this is how I try to do things in the sense of getting my first impression just on face value. I saw the title "Living on Edge," didn't even realize it was a cover because I mean, of course I know the song. Everyone knows the fucking Aerosmith song. It's massive. So then I hit play and I realize it's a cover. I'm like, oh, cool. And I hear the production that you did differently. You recorded everything yourself on that? Drums included?
Yeah, well, so programmed drums, but the producer that Bad Wolves works with, a guy named Joseph McQueen, you know, he'll like, you'll go in there and he kind of like puts his little sample. He makes the shit sound sick. So all the tones are mine, but then, you know, he put his magic on it. Like I literally, like you'll have a guitar tone at home, like I did the guitars, and I just see him in the studio, just, you know, doing things. And I'm like,
just changing it all up.
How you make it sound? You know, like that's why he makes what he makes, because he knows what he's doing. But he basically recorded my vocals, and then he mixed it.
Okay.
And then Kyle from Bad Wolves played bass on it.
Okay, I was wondering if you played bass on it, because I specifically loved bringing not only the traditional bass. I don't think Aerosmith bass gets enough love.
Dude, he rips. Their whole rhythm section, but it's
incredible.
But dude, there's this, like, I'm a huge Aerosmith fan.
I'll tell you how bad it is that they don't get enough credit. I don't know their names enough.
Yeah.
So, well, and I'm sitting here trying to give them praise tonight. What's the bass player's name?
Now I'm forgetting.
I can picture him.
Yeah. But Tom is one of them, and then Brad. There's Brad, the other guitar player.
Dude, bass players always get the shaft, even from other bass players.
Usually I know this. I'm just having a brain fart, but they're awesome, and
it's incredible though. Like what the original. I'm sorry to cut you off there, but I want to finish this thought of it real quick. Is like the original has already a great bass line, but bringing that traditional sound into it, and then the little bit of creative movement in the notes to get it a little bit darker was something that I thought really was a difference of the original. Is like bringing it down, like the bass being a little bit more prevalent, a little bit more 2024, you know, louder, bigger. And that's cool. You can do that sonically, but when you go in and choose the notes a little bit different, like you guys did there, to get them a little bit darker and stuff like that, more heavy, like you were going for. My question there, was that something that Kyle brought to the table, and you had the guitars, or did you say like these are the notes I want you to be going for?
Well, I don't know if I sent him tabs or I might have soloed out the bass. Like I had like this MIDI bass track and I sent it to him, and then he just came in and just kind of did his thing, and but he's so sick. Like he's like one take Tony. You just do one thing, like, all right, that was perfect.
love that.
So probably if anything that's variant, I don't think I coached him. I was if it sounded right, I was like, that's great. Let's just kind of go with it. But yeah, he's great. And again, like most songs I think from that era, it's pretty simple, but there's very cool one thing I love about the chorus of that song is you have these chord changes, but you have drone notes.
Oh, yeah.
So one thing stays the same, and then
cool.
then the chords change under that, and it creates this like tension.
Intention,
and it gives it a darkness to it in a thing, and a lot of times you'll love a song, and then you'll go and like, let me cover this, and then you see kind of like what they're doing, and you kind of get a look under the hood, and you're like, man, this is fucking cool. Really? And I've done that before, like working on covers and stuff, and it's one of the ones where I'm like, man, there's a lot of really cool stuff here, you know? And especially my favorite part that I did was the bridge section, which is, like the original, it's almost like this boogie woogie, this kind of thing. And I just turned it to like an Anthrax part.
Yeah, it's a cool, that is a cool rendition of it. I'm glad you brought up all those little intricacies though in the production that like you get to, as you said, lift the hood and pick out and stuff, and you brought some of it to the forefront like you're talking about, and I think that's so cool. I mean, all those little things are, like you said, you listen to a song, you don't necessarily realize that they're happening. I mean, I remember going back and listening to songs when we were doing things for, we did some covers for an extended version of The Stage. And when we were taking it apart, we're like, I've never noticed that little guitar part in the far corner, but it's adding so much, you don't even realize it, and then you bring that to the forefront, and it shows everybody else like the brilliance of it. Sometimes it's really cool.
Yeah, and I also think I love it when I love to change things, like from a cover and go, okay, make it your own. I wouldn't do that beat here. I would do something else, or that transition's kind of weird. Like Bad Wolves did a cover of Mama, I'm Coming Home. And there's this one little cool thing, we just took it out. It's like, and I think you kind of have to do those things because it's like, if you're just gonna redo it,
they already did it great.
Yeah, like why
made it perfect.
Why does yours exist? There's got to be something about what you're doing that makes it special, or else you're just kind of just making a photocopy,
Yeah. I'm glad you brought Mama I'm Coming Home and Living on the Edge, both songs that we're talking about right here, real quick. Because I know you could sing. Everyone knows you could sing. You've been doing backups and everything like that.
I don't know. Who knows?
Well,
sometimes
we all know now.
Sometimes I don't know. Like, ah.
Yeah, you were having a good day in the studio.
No, listen. I just whether I can sing or not, it's fun.
Yeah,
it's fun
what
to do
all
it.
Should be, yeah.
But I also don't care. Like, I don't see music as like the Olympics, like the best or good. Like, there's plenty of singers.
We're gonna get into the Olympics.
Okay, well, I'm fine with that. But there's but there's singers in like famous bands who aren't the greatest singers. Quote unquote,
no, of course it doesn't.
But they're great, and they're great at what they do, and it's not about being.
Well, that's music in general, right?
Yes, but I do think like I was just having this revelation. Like I might even do a post about this, where it was like we live in a hater culture. Everyone hates everything. Even the thing, like I saw like Phil from All Our Mates, he posted something. He's like, people are talking shit about the Deadpool versus Wolverine. I'm like, this is the most popular thing on earth.
That's why it's getting the hate.
Yes, but what I'm saying is that why are we focusing on the 8 people talking shit about it? Like, it doesn't. You shouldn't even pay them any attention. Like, if the most universally liked thing on earth has some hate, it means it doesn't matter what it is. Someone's gonna hate on it. So why do we pay attention to people who are just like, I don't know. It's just, I think that's the way we are about everything. We're fucking some glass half empty motherfuckers. It's pissing me off.
I think you're absolutely right. Let's fucking get into it. That's a societal issue, man. Like, I think I think about it all the time. Like it's crazy, like the divisiveness of our race at this point, like of humans, you know what I mean? And it's global because of social media, and those voices who have always been there before have a louder voice. And we pay attention to it, to your point, And then we go and like allow them to allow them to be the gatekeepers on most of this stuff. And it's just a handful of fucking haters that are gonna hate on anything anyway. And then they become gatekeepers somehow. And it's because everyone wants to argue. Everyone wants to argue their points right now. No one's listening to the other side of the argument.
Do they want to argue? Or I think it's a lot of it is about wanting to feel significant. Right?
Which
like,
I guess, and everybody should be able to have that. You know what I mean? Like,
should they though? Because think about it. For all the millions of years before the internet, people were just people.
Right.
And I think, you talk about that like that Carl Sagan idea of like the pale blue dot, right?
Yeah.
Which speaks to like recognizing our own insignificance, but in a good way.
Yes.
Of going, hey, you know what? I have this life here, and ultimately,
to show gratitude.
Nothing matters, but because of that, it's really important to understand what does matter, right? My friends, my family,
the gratitude
my health.
that you get from
it. So like just appreciate all that, but there is a humility in understanding that yes, in my life, to the people that care about me, I'm significant, but in the grand scheme, I'm insignificant, right? It's this odd recognition of understanding the scale of what our lives should mean. And what I'm saying is, I think because of how the internet culture has changed things, a lot of self-worth. Think about it. The most important people in society now are called influencers. Your value societally is measured by how much influence you have. So people will literally say, like, if they're like, yeah, I'm not listening to you because how many followers you have? You don't matter. See, our own relatives.
That's so interesting because then it's such a fake. That's such a fake litmus test because
what is the other litmus test? It used to be money, right? And that's still part of it, right? Like, oh, I make more. Like,
well, no, but what I mean is, and you've probably seen it from your podcast too. It doesn't matter. Like, I've had people on this very podcast who have so many fucking followers, but you're taking them and then you're putting them into this medium where they're talking, and they may have like a huge TikTok, right? They're going to have that following over there because that's the form of entertainment that their fan base wants, right? You bring them over here, they can't do it.
You can't lean on that.
You can't lean on it. But you have other people who may not have the followers, but have a longevity of built actual in stone career, and they can go to any entertainment and have that clout. It's more consistency of the clout and more in real time. Also, you could have the viral videos on everything, but then you go and put that person in a position where they got to sell a ticket, and they're not going to sell those tickets because you're taking them out of that medium, which is fine. They could be all stars in that medium. It's okay. It's the new TV. They're television. You know what I mean? It's a new form of entertainment. As long as everyone realizes that, like, this is your entertainment. You're only following. You only care while you're on your phone. As soon as you set your phone down, no one cares.
Yeah.
And you need to realize that.
Well, I think you're taking an objective standpoint. I'm talking about from the perspective of the individual who feels like they're not being heard or they feel like they're not being seen.
Okay.
And it's a way where there's so many of us. And again, think about if you're, you have kids, right, who are seeing this stuff from a different perspective than we have because they're growing up.
No chance of teaching them that.
Well, but they're growing up with it, and their relationship with it will be probably a lot more advanced than ours, but also it'll be more ingrained because they will not know a world without that. But if you're someone because I think when you're a kid and you're figuring out who you are, right? You just you like think about like sorry to get dark here, but like like the kid who tried to kill Trump, right? I think people do the school shooters and these young disaffected people, they do things like that mainly to feel seen, to just having it like the world doesn't.
But that's not new.
Absolutely not, absolutely not. But the mechanisms are new, right? So the idea like if there's some famous person and you like find out they did something terrible and you like we talk about cancel culture and things like that. So a quote unquote insignificant person can actually tear down someone huge if you just get the right kind of information out.
Yep.
And that power dynamic is just different. And I hate to say better or worse because I think when you get to a certain age, you tend to look at everything as from your time is good and everything from now is bad. And I think that's a fallacy, right?
I agree.
But within that, I think there is this, like I said, we're all in the midst of these odd growing pains. But I'm the kind of guy, right? Like when I'm a fan of something, I'm a fan of it, right? I'm a fan of Metallica. Even if they put out a record, I didn't like it as much as the last one, I'm happy there's a Metallica record.
Right.
I'm like, this is great. You know, if I see a Metallica show, the one thing I love about Metallica is they're not robots. Every show is different. Maybe this show, he missed a beat or this vocal isn't perfect, but I don't care. I'm at a Metallica show. I'm fucking pumped. I like Marvel movies. Oh, this movie isn't as good as the last one. Why do I care? There's gonna be like, the thing I like is there, but people don't look at it that way. They wanna, I call it's like, people zooming in on like a shadow of a flaw of like a supermodel. Like, why can't we just be more like, just like, look at what's cool about something instead of going, I didn't like this one thing in this one movie and because it's a piece of shit. It's like, Jesus, like, can't something just be like good?
And entertaining. Like,
Can
it just serve its fucking purpose?
Yeah, just be like, man, it was pretty good. It wasn't perfect, but it was, but nothing.
I didn't feel like I wasted my time watching it or listening to it, whatever the case may be.
I just being a bunch of haters, and we're haters about everything. Like we look at you look at politics, and people they only look at what's going wrong.
That's why I started off. Kind of went around the block, but that's why I started off like, let's get into it, because the society. What we're talking about is something as insignificant as in a sense as social media, but the politics have come into the social media world. And they're playing it.
But I think the two are synonymous because, again, having a voice, right? Like, people want to feel empowered. So they want to go, okay, I'm going to do my little bit to further whatever issue is my issue, or my candidate is my candidate, or to tear down the issues I don't like,
tear down the other
or tear down the candidate I don't like, and everyone becomes little soldiers, culture war,
And that's so silly, because at the end of the these people don't care about them.
But that's not the point. The point is
I understand.
I'm
going on a different.
No, but I'm saying, but the point is that people want to feel like they have some semblance of power. And before social media, what could you do? You could like sign up to an organization. You could hand out pamphlets. You could knock on doors. You could be kind of an activist in other ways. But now the barrier of entry is minuscule. So anyone who wants to go, I am affecting the world in my one little way. And maybe that one person isn't, but when it's a million people doing it, their collective power does actually shift the world. So I think people always want to feel empowered, and powerlessness is like, no one wants to feel that way. People want to feel like, oh no, I have a say in the outcome. But I go the other way. I actually go look at myself and I go, as I call it, John Stewart said this, pissing in the ocean. Like, I'm not making a fucking difference.
And we're not.
Or like, I try and see myself that way.
You gotta, I think you're right. And I'll say, I think you're right. In my mind, I'm saying he's 100% right. But I think you're right. I think I agree with you on that. It is, they're confusing power with actually being able to change things. It's an ego trip. You know what I mean? And we all have to check that ego, even, from the biggest celebrity to the guy working at the fucking McDonald's, whatever the case may be. We all have egos. It's part of our psyche, and you have to recognize it and look at it. And sometimes you might confuse that power that we're talking about as actually being significant and actually having a significant change when it's not. But when you go back to pale blue dot real quick, you're talking about how insignificant. You're not changing the tides. You're a grain of sand on the 1,000 beaches, and you're not going to change the tide any more than anything else. Collectively, right, sure, but that's my point. What I don't like about it right now is that no one's collectively doing it. They're collectively arguing one side or the other and not listening to the other side.
Yes and no. I do think there are people who are part
There's
of
some
organizations.
You're right. That's a generalization.
And I think, and again, I want to zoom out a little bit of this conversation, because I think it could look kind of like myopic, or that we're being kind of nihilistic and saying, don't do anything because you can't change anything. I definitely don't want to say that. And I think for young people especially, young people want to affect the world in a positive way and want to,
and that's great.
Assert themselves. And I don't want to ever want to discourage that or give my, make my vantage point not recognize that people should feel empowered to make the world the way as good as they want to. You know, so I want
through
to
their
say that
perspective.
for the camera. So.
No, of course, and it's through their perspective. I guess that's a very important point that Doc just brought up. When you have so many different perspectives, and we understand that everybody's brought into this world with a different perspective, and it's shaped through their lives, that will change their opinions and their beliefs over that time. It doesn't make it right, doesn't make it wrong, just makes it what it is. Mm-hmm. And we all have that. Every single person has a different way of seeing things and different opinions and everything. The only way to make those changes, in my opinion, is to come to compromises. It has to be constant compromises because, and I know that sounds fucking, like that's what everyone says, but it's very true.
I know exactly what you're saying.
Because you're gonna have differences. There's no way we're all, but if we want to make it to the next level, like we're talking like we've only been here for what? How long has the human race been on? You know, it was like
about 200,000 years. I'm sorry.
A blimp on this planet, let alone the universe.
Yeah. As Homo sapiens.
As Homo sapiens, of course. But, and if you follow that evolution or anything, or even if you don't, but you believe that as a human race, we're going to continue on, and you want that to happen, and you want to go galactic, we're not doing it by having a bunch of countries.
Yeah.
We have to be a one world
Oh,
organization.
see what you're saying? See, the globalists.
I get it, and I get why that would be scary. I understand that, but I mean, if that's the goal, if we want to continue as a race, where else are you going to go?
See, but you know what you're using? Long-term logic, which is no. I'm serious because
I know what you mean. Though,
no, because
I do because that's a new perspective for me since having a kid. By the way.
Okay, but I've always kind of thought that way. But I think I'm a sci-fi guy. I'm a futurist, but I think unfortunately a lot of these concepts, like the Star Trek, alliances, how we've solved all our problems and now we're out in the final frontier, right? A lot of that stuff can feel very pie in the sky, and to some people utopian, other people dystopian.
Right.
But that concept is, of course, to flourish past the current state of being. But you have to understand, a lot of people see things, basically tend to view human beings as animals. And so they go, well, we're animals, and since we're animals, there's only going to be one piece of meat, and so we got to fight each other for the steak, right? We got to fight each other for the oil. So they can't really see past the way things are to see like how the world will evolve or change, and that there's really only one path forward, right? Because either we're against each other, fighting over the same land and resources and things, or we're going, hey man, why are we bombing your thing? This doesn't really make.
We're all on the same planet, which is very small. Why the fuck? I mean, your planet. We're all made up of the same shit.
Yeah.
Every element that makes up everything on this planet, we all have parts of it.
So, but what I'm saying is the other logic is, well, probably in our lifetime that won't happen. So people go, well, while I'm alive, I'm getting a big piece of chicken, so I'm gonna have to bomb your ass.
So you're saying they're selfish.
I think human beings are inherently selfish,
right?
In the sense of like, I think Richard Dawkins wrote a book called The Selfish Gene, right? The only reason we're here is because our ancestors did something to survive and make sure that to kind of get to this point. And it's like, if we don't survive, we can't pass it on to our children and their children. And so all of us have self-interest. It's not inherently bad. So when I say selfish, I'm not saying it's like,
I don't even believe in bad or good necessarily anymore.
So
there are things.
Let's talk about Hitler, all right?
There are, okay.
I'm joking.
You know what I mean? But seriously, like the older I get, you mentioned that too. Like when you start to think of other people's perspectives and stuff like that, the line becomes blurrier and blurrier of what's good and bad. And there's the obvious is we're not talking about that, people. The spectrum is still there. Murder, rape, all these things, genocide, all these
basic
things.
morality.
Basic morality.
Yeah.
But there's so many other things within that. And then where a lot of people, not everyone, are lumping those things in or saying, Doc has an opinion on this. I don't agree with his opinion. He's obviously a bad person.
Yeah.
They take that extra leap these days to make it a personal attack rather than just let's talk about the opinion and come to a compromise on where we can see eye to eye.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I totally see what you're saying. And I think like, as they say, like one person's terrorist is another person's freedom fighter, right? So sometimes when you look at things like that, good or bad is just based on what side of the fence you're on. Right. And your perspective. I think the other element of like good people, bad people, right? Dude, I think about that stuff all the time, right? Like what makes a good person bad, right? So if a person is good their whole life and they do all the right things and they never do it, and then all of a sudden they get like in a fight and like beat someone to death, but they do that one bad thing and they're a murderer, is that the thing that defines them? Or if someone's a piece of shit their whole life and does terrible things and robs people and fucking beats up old ladies, but then like rescues a family from like a fire, does that make them a good person, right? Does that absolve them, right? Like, but the truth is most people, all the best people we've ever met probably have,
There's a third perspective in that scenario, by the way. Is there someone else who gets to decide what's right or wrong?
Well, I think this is the role of, philosophers have been trying to figure out for centuries.
Right.
Is having the concepts of this, or like,
Are we playing my question is, are we playing the simulation wrong?
Are we playing
and I mean that kind of seriously. I know everyone throws out simulation and everything, and the quick thought is Matrix video game. I don't mean that. I believe we're in a simulation because there's too many rules and natural, quote unquote natural, which they are natural. I'm not saying that they're not natural, so maybe I shouldn't have air quoted it. But there's too many natural laws and things that come into being in these bodies on these planets. How did we get here? I'm not saying I know. I'm not saying anything like that. How did we get here? Why are we here? All these questions. You don't know. No one truly knows.
You know what I don't get about the simulation? What, like farting? Why would the simulation do that?
Why would the simulation do a lot of things?
Keep us, traffic.
And again, I'm not saying it's a perfect simulation, motherfucker. Obviously, it's not a perfect simulation.
Carlos Mencia, why would
it's not even a simulation in the sense of like someone sitting there in a fucking lab and putting it together, or creating a fucking code in a game or anything like that. I'm just saying there's general rules and laws of something. I believe in creationism. Now, I don't believe that anyone on this planet has figured it out in religion or anything like that. That is just my belief. It's what I think.
You think you do or you don't?
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's figured it out. I think that the smartest people in the world, much smarter than me, have come and gone. I will come and go and still not know the answer to these questions. And I think that that's important to understand the difference of what you think and what you believe. Like everyone thinks they know something about what happens after you die and what happened before you got here. We should all think about that.
Yes, but there's another element to that I try to impress upon people. I don't know if I'd call this a discipline or like a place that we would kind of wish we can get to, which is being comfortable not knowing things.
Yep.
All right. I think people in general are not at ease with that concept. Like going, I don't know this thing, these grand questions, right? These grand human questions, and I probably will not know. And the reason why it's really dangerous is if you are uncomfortable with that, someone will probably come along in your life, a guru or a leader or a political person, a religious person, and they will, a significant other who will go, I do have the answers. And you're so desperate to fill in the holes that you will go, oh, and we have this kind of paternal need for safety. And sometimes knowledge is safety, right? And kind of, oh, I know this is gonna happen. But to be uncomfortable going, I don't know, understanding there are certain questions in our lifetime are probably unknowable, and that's okay.
Yes.
But it doesn't mean you have to fill in the gaps with answers. Just let them be blank space. Blank space is okay. You ever be in a room, minimalist room, just a chair? That's all right. Enjoy that chair.
Doc, bring it into music. What are you talking about space and music?
Oh, actually, I do have I can bring this to music. Adam Jones from Tool came to see God Forbid at the Key Club back in 2005.
Shit.
And at the time, still to this day, the most like big time dude that ever was in my band. And he came to the show and came backstage, and his compliment for God Forbid was, I like the way you use negative space.
Yes.
See, the one chair in the room, guys. Adam Jones. He knows. Enjoy that.
Yeah.
Just make it a nice chair, though. Make it a really nice chair.
Yeah. No, but seriously, we'll get off that subject for a minute because we got more to talk about. I love it.
I think this is what you putting here.
I would go fucking so much deeper this, and we still will. I just want to get back to a little bit of the music, but I will say I agree with you about all that. Like there is a not knowing. If you believe, again, that difference of belief and think. If you think that you're going to find the answer, you're going to be the one person. I mean, look at all the most brilliant philosophers of our species. They didn't figure it out. At the end, Socrates said, "I know enough to know I don't know shit."
Yeah, but the beautiful thing about that
that was not a direct quote, by the way.
but I think the beautiful thing about that is we have that work to study and learn about, and then we have new philosophers. Yeah, but we have new philosophers that build theories and ideas off of that, and you can compare and contrast, and you can have
building blocks.
And as me, as a amateur philosopher, or as Mel Brooks would call it, bullshit artist.
Yes. I'm glad you brought Mel Brooks as on one of the Young Frankenstein show.
Yeah.
I like that.
You know, as someone who I get a lot of, I love asking myself these questions and questioning myself and what is, again, like simple things. What is a good person? What are these things? These are things that tenets, most of us have probably grown up in some kind of organized religion or family unit or societal structure that tells us that these are the set of morality you should have, and these are the principles you should follow. But as humans with some kind of free will, we get to actually go, well, let me question those. Mm-hmm. Let me interrogate my own worldview and go, do these hold up to muster? And we should always be going, all right, like, because we're taught these things as children. We don't have a choice, right? How we're raised or what.
We don't have a choice about our existence, and you're right. Yeah. Like you're taught what you're taught.
Yeah,
and then what you know.
And then you grow up and you question. But you grow up and you question things, and we should always do that. But I say I advocate for critical thinking, not free thinking. Free thinking is like fucking just waving in the wind. The next thing you know, you're at a rally holding a tiki torch,
Oh yeah. Damn, man.
I'm saying free means it's like what's that movie, American Beauty?
Yeah.
With the plastic bag.
Oh yeah, flood that he follows.
That's free, baby.
Yeah, that's free flow.
That's free. No, critical, baby. We want to, we want to be.
But that is, I'm glad you said everyone should question everything. That's something I do, because it's just, I've seen it in my own lifetime. It's not something that I have to go to history books to see, to realize or anything like that. You see, in our lifetimes, the information we were taught is not, there's new information has changed what the information we were taught was. And that's going to always continue because, like you said, we stand on the shoulders of the giants before us, or the building blocks before us, and moving on. So what we think we know now may not be there.
Sure,
again.
and I think
so. You have to question everything. Like someone says something, a lot of times we go along with it just because that guy has the utmost confidence, and you believe him. He could sell you on his thought.
Well, I say this: trust but verify, right? So don't. I think what we're in a phase now of. This is like a primarily driven by kind of like the thing that was COVID, which is like traumatic.
Oh yeah,
it's a traumatic experience for a generation, right?
I was talking to my father-in-law the other day, and he was like, he was getting older about it. Yeah. I'm done with to cut you off. Like, yeah, it's really interesting though. I'll come back to it. Sorry.
Yeah, but this analogy I was thinking about, right? So like, if you have all these pillars of trust, right? Think about it like a game of Jenga. Mm-hmm. Right, so it's like I don't trust the government. You take one thing out. Well, I don't trust the media. You take another thing out. Oh, I don't trust the schools. I don't trust intelligence communities. I don't trust this. And all of a sudden, you start pulling out, and it falls apart. And now you don't trust anything. And all of a sudden, you're just like, just this. You're just like this boat sailing in the ocean without anything to tether to. And I think sometimes that question everything thing goes so deep that you become a contrarian to everything. So you go, well, I don't trust them. And it's like, well, but what if they say something that's true? So now
that's the difference of trust and question now.
Yeah.
That's a fine line actually in this scenario. Because what I'm saying is you question it. I'm not saying you come up with your own answer and distrust what it's saying, but understand it's coming from another human being who just like you came in and is taught the same stuff. Now, granted, they've probably put in the work, and they're the ones studying and coming up with these theories and stuff. But that doesn't mean that they know. It doesn't mean that you can trust it emphatically on everything.
Absolutely, yeah.
And that's where it gets scary.
Yeah.
I gotta fix this light. I gotta fix the lights in this fucking thing real quick.
That's right.
We're gonna take a break.
You're ruining my man's beauty.
That's the one thing I gotta update on this thing. I do little by little, but then
What is it, like on a timer?
No, it's not supposed to be. He's just a fucking piece of shit.
Dude, I think I might have bought that exact same one.
Probably during the pandemic.
No, I went to like Target or some shit. I bought some shit like that. It's like I was like,
mine was an Amazon special, I think. I don't know.
man,
No, it's funny you mentioned the pandemic though, real quick, because I don't know if this is for the podcast, but I found it funny because all the older generation who also went through the same thing we all did has this mentality of like since then, like the newer generation, just all the economy and everything is in shambles. I'm like, looking at them like, I get it. You're giving, and we're talking politics, right? Yeah. Talking about presidential politics. And I'm like, you're giving these people way too much credit when it fails and when it does well. You're giving one person credit and all the vitriol when they're down. That's way too much for that one fucking person. Trust me, they ain't in control that much. They ain't. It's just not fucking possible.
Well, I think anytime.
The other thing, real quick, though that I had to bring up was to remind him, this is the first time, aside from the Ice Age, where we have literally had a global shutdown.
The Ice Age?
The Ice Age, probably. I mean, we weren't there, but I'm sure the Ice Age, but it was a global event that shut down everything.
Plague, the actual bubonic plague, which that killed I think 3/4 of the planet or some shit.
But it didn't have a shutdown.
Well, I mean, who knows?
Because we weren't at the point that we are in.
Yeah, well, we don't have like globalism and like, oh, we're getting our.
We're on the very beginning of globalism.
Yeah.
Is my point, and that to have that shut down, it's the first time, and it's not going to be the last time. Where when you create a global economy, which we have, if you realize it or not, I understand there's other countries, but there's a global economy because we're all feeding off each other. When you have that, and it affects everybody, that's only going to happen again. You know what I mean? And
I don't know. I think this, for good or bad, I think
not the same way.
Well, I'm just saying. I think the experience everyone went through. If something like this happens in our lifetime, but more likely it won't. But if it does, at least you have like a teachable
moment. Right.
You have something to go. Okay, what worked?
One of those
what
building
didn't?
Blocks we were talking about.
Yeah, but like what worked, what didn't work. I think the beauty of having like a multitude of societies, you can go, oh, this country took this approach. This country took this approach, and you can study that and go, how did it work? This affected education this way and that was not helpful. This affected mental health in this way and that was not helpful. What are the trade-offs, right? How many people died? How many people, whatever your metrics for how you want your society to run or what, because there's trade-offs, right? Yeah. For this, I get this. For that, and that's most, I think, policy stuff is just...
It's compromise.
See, okay, so this is the point you were talking about compromise. Well, I think compromise is a little lost with people currently, is that, people have echo chambers and bubbles, right? And where they're essentially, the people they're around tend to think like them. So they think, so if they follow like one political person and they're like, you're gonna get this and you're gonna get that, and they give them like a wish list of all the things they want, and so they never get to realize, they never take into account there's another group of people who think the exact opposite. Yeah. And they have to share the same country or the same city. And so at some point, they don't think, if I get all the things I like, they're gonna be miserable. If they get all the things they like, I'm gonna be miserable. And but like you're
in the same position, you're just split.
But it's like, it's really important, to not think, if I'm pretty far on one side, that it should just be exactly what I want, because if you get what you want, then they're gonna burn the place down. You should go, hey man, how about I get this, you get that?
There's enough to go around. There's enough to go around.
Well, no, but just this idea is like, it's, the Rolling Stones, you can't always get what you want. And that's okay. It's like, hey man, can I get a little? Can I get a sip?
Yeah, we're good. Just let everybody have a seat at the table and we're good.
Can you pour a little soda in my hand? But I think that's the thing, is like, people just thinking, I want everything, and I want it now. And it's like,
yeah.
It's all right. Like, listen, I get it. Because everything isn't that deep, all right?
Yeah.
To try and just relax. Can we, my new thing is this, just be normal. Don't act crazy. I'm thinking about starting a new podcast called Be Normal. It's like, yo,
I love it.
Stop.
How are you going to be normal?
No, how am I going to be normal?
You can't consider yourself normal.
Oh, no, Normie Coyle here, all right? Just think.
You don't have an average life.
No, but I don't, I think I'm connected with like what just, there's a, you know what the Overton window is? So the Overton window is like when you introduce a new idea that all of a sudden it pulls the range of possibilities out further to extremes, right?
Okay.
So, but I'm saying, but there's this general kind of, so you got extremes over here, and this range in the middle of just things that generally normal people understand and make sense. And so what I'm saying is like,
I think that's the majority of people,
but we
by
have,
the way.
no, but yes, but when you go online, the things that gain traction are the most wild and exciting and just like if you want people to pay attention to you, you can't say something normal. You have to be Andrew Tate and be like, women should, they should have a license to leave the house or something. Like, and that guy will have 8 million followers. Like, you have to say crazy things for people to pay attention to you.
What's your crazy thing you're gonna say to promote Living on the Edge?
What's the crazy thing to promote it? I don't know. Every bit of subversive marketing I'm doing is like all off the cuff, but it's definitely not. I'm not, like, I ain't gonna show my ass, and by actually I might literally show my ass, but
video too.
I might actually get naked, but not in a shocking way. Like everything I do like that is me for laughs, like for fun, and I love self-deprecating humor and making myself the butt of the joke and like not taking myself too seriously.
Right.
And naked dudes are always funny, right? It's like Blink-182.
It's always funny. It's never sexy.
So that's my point. Especially this guy, 44. It's not sexy. No, like I'm actually. I don't know how much you guys do this because you basically like none of the guys in the band do social media. You guys aren't in your music videos anymore, but I think you can, like, things like social media and content creation can be really fun if you're infusing the same creativity that you put into the music and things like that. And if it just becomes an extension of that and it becomes like just manifestations of your personality, then it can be really cool. And the great thing about doing like a solo thing is I don't have to ask anybody. I just think about something and I do it. And I just go with my gut and then you hope people like it, but it's like, I'll do some shit. I'm like, if it's making me laugh, then
that's what it's there for.
That's kind of like all I care about. Like I hope people get it, but it's funny to me. I was laughing while I was making it,
Well, I'm sure you were laughing when you were making that music video in the park scene.
So much fun.
The park scene with the homies coming up on you with the knives, and you bust out a fucking frisbee on them. I was like dying, dude. I was watching this. I'm like, again, first watch, face value. I'm just looking at it. I'm like. And that comes up, I was like, where's this going? Is he about to get serious here? And then he busts out the frisbee. And they're just stupidly, just like in a triangle, just so fucking hokey. I thought it was fucking brilliant.
Well, it's the whole idea, like some stuff is not that planned out when you're doing something. And like, I was trying to figure out like, what is the relation between the lyrics of the song and kind of the movie? Like, right. I don't know when was the last time you seen the movie, Falling Down?
Fuck. That would have, I probably only saw it once or twice when it was on HBO years ago, you know what I mean?
But I think it's like
on cable TV.
But I think it's like that first line of the song. It's like, there's something wrong with the world today. Mm-hmm. And it's like this simple thing, and it's the same thing with the character in the movie, is he's out in this world that he does not recognize anymore because it lacks compassion. It lacks humanity. It lacks there's something that's not right. And in the movie, it just all goes bad.
Right.
And even though people look at it as like this kind of fantasy about like, man, if I didn't give a fuck what I'd really do, it's bad because it's about a guy who goes, I'm not gonna pay attention. The rules don't apply to me anymore. And I'm special. Yes, no one's fucking special, right? We all gotta wait in fucking line at fucking Costco, and we all gotta pay our taxes, and we all gotta, all this dumb shit we don't wanna do, but we all gotta go to the dentist and fucking get fillings and whatever, just all the dumb stuff. None of us get to skip the line because we're special, you know? But at the end of the day, we do want like, you know, like to go to a 7-Eleven and have like a human connection with someone, and we want people to be nice to each other and be compassionate. Oh, someone needs help, you help them out. You know, just all these little humanistic things. And so I was just trying with the music video was everything went wrong for that guy, but that's not everybody, man. We can, like, I can have a difficult interaction and we can flip it. Someone could snap at me and I don't have to give them the same energy back. And maybe you know, kind of change things. So it's just about taking the difficulties of life and turn them, you know, have everything kind of work out. Go, it's all right, man. You fuck with me? Hey, how about an olive branch instead of a fucking baseball bat to the face? You know, so.
I love that. That's exactly what I got from the video, and I'm so glad because it all tied into that extremely long and deep conversation we just had, because it actually ties into what we were talking about.
But again, it's not. It was not an intellectual process.
No.
It was like, for me, it was just like.
It was just,
all right,
like you said, it just kind of came to you.
Well, I just want people to watch it and feel good.
Oh, right.
That's it. And just have like something that's like maybe in many ways is like corny in today's day and age, you know, just kind of like a feel good experience or something that's just like people connecting and having fun and enjoying, especially like Los Angeles, right? Which is like, if you like, I feel like I'm like a movie guy, right?
All right.
And if you were to watch like 80s action movies that took place in the near future, it's like Demolition Man and RoboCop and like Predator 2. In the future, crime is crazy. It's like, it's like downtown LA is a war zone and like the cops don't go there no more. And like things are exploding and the cops are on strike. Like I have to impress this upon people. In like 1990, you had, 2,000 murders a year in New York City. That went down to like 200. Just to give you an idea how bad crime was. Like, there's a reason why they made movies like Escape from New York and The Warriors.
They thought everything was going to get worse, right?
And Dirty Harry. Like, crime was awful, violent crime, right?
Yeah.
But then from that point, crime's been going steadily down. But there's still like this idea, right, that like, especially, like we kind of bring to the political thing that's just like everything's going to shit. Right?
Yeah.
But I think it's like, I live in Long Beach, all right? Long Beach is hard, all right? I hear it. It's like we have a game. It's like fireworks or gunshots, all right? But guess what? I never really feel unsafe.
Yeah.
And I think that's also just like, I've always lived in the city. It's all, and like I grew up, in a city where it's like, I'd be walking around on my bike and I worry about people stealing my bike or getting beaten up. You don't go down this street. So I'm used to like city life,
right?
But I'm not intimidated by it. It doesn't like worry me. It doesn't scare me. But what I think is like people have an incongruous idea of like the way reality is, because if you're just watching reality through your phone and you're like, oh, on Twitter, apparently there's like people like be safe when you go to Paris. I'm like, I went to, there's riots. I went to Paris.
It's a metropolitan city.
It was just Paris.
Yeah.
I'm like they were having demonstrations, but that was on like one street. But they think they see like one street and they go, well, the city's in flames. And I'm like, can you put the phone down?
Yeah, man.
That's not reality. Like, but to what I was saying before about things being unknowable. It is kind of like let's say there's like not even let's say, like there's a war going on in Ukraine, right? How do you determine what's actually happening in reality?
Yeah.
Like seriously, like what do? You have to pay journalists to go there, right? But even let's say you have a ton of money, right? You have millions and millions of dollars. So you're gonna pay, let's say you have 20 journalists, you have photographers, you have cameramen, you have people, doing. You know how fucking big a country is? Do you know how many things are happening at once? How do you craft a story that details everything? It's impossible. Actually, deducing reality to a net, because human beings, that's why stories are so powerful. The Bible, fucking Harry Potter, Star Wars, right?
I'm glad that you put Bible in there with that, by the way. I love that.
Listen, that's the Harry Potter of the fucking...
I'm in agreement. I used
day.
to make arguments about the similarities between the Bible and Lord of the Rings and all this shit
Yeah,
all the time.
but guess what? But most of even our epic stories today are still versions of these Christian stories, and the symmetry, and we repeat a lot of all this
It's
stuff.
just storytelling.
Yeah,
Protagonist versus antagonist.
Yeah, but it's like martyrdom and resurrection and all this stuff. But messiahs, whatever. But what I'm saying is, like, humans have to understand facts through stories.
Yeah.
Beginning, middle, end. Heroes, villains, right? Conflict, resolution. And so it's really difficult to actually understand what a thing is. So people will tell you, like, oh, you live in LA, oh, it's terrible, California. So I'm like everyone's leaving. I'm like, do you know how many people live in California? If everyone's leaving, why does it take me 2.5 hours to get from fucking LAX to, House of Blues in Anaheim?
Yeah.
Why are there so many people? I thought they left.
Yeah.
You told me they left.
I was hoping they were right, man. I'd love to have
Maybe
that
I could
freeway,
afford a house here if they all left.
Yeah, no shit.
They're like, everyone wants to leave. Then why is it $3,000 for a fucking 1,000 square foot 1-bedroom apartment?
Right.
So same thing. I was like, I hadn't been to like Portland in a while, and I was like, in Seattle, and I was like, it's their hellholes. I go there, I was just like, it just seems like Seattle.
Seattle was a little different for me. Portland, I felt like Portland last time I was there, but Seattle, I'm a big fan of Seattle. I'm going there. Vacation there. I got, what's up?
Got mugged?
I didn't get mugged. I got mugged in New Orleans twice though, but that was when I was younger.
New Orleans is fucking crazy.
Well, it was crazy. I was also drinking. There's a lot of factors.
No, but I remember, like, I was like 4 a.m. I was in New Orleans one time, and I'm looking around, and I'm like, I think there might be a concept as too much freedom. Like, I was like, I'm like, I might get stabbed with a hatchet from like a clown or something. I'm like,
it gets gnarly there. I mean,
but it's fun. But I was like, this shit is, it's like the Royal Rumble, but with like booze and strippers and jazz.
Yeah, dude, the French Quarter is awesome though.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you're absolutely right though with everything. You see it and you think it's terrible. Seattle, I will say, like, we were actually not guided, but we were told by the police officers to avoid a couple of streets, which I'd never had previously.
Yeah.
Always had the vagrants, and for the most part, I love the vagrants in Seattle because they're generally like the hippie kind of. They've made that choice. It's not always down and out. You know, I'm making a generalization again. I understand, but. That had gotten a little bit different.
Yeah. Well, by the way, I don't mean this to say like these things don't exist,
right.
Or like, oh, it's exactly perfect.
No,
trust me.
But it's always been there.
I drove by Skid Row yesterday. That shit was crazy. Okay, it's not to deny reality. It's just to say that, like, a lot of these things are manageable,
right.
And like, how do we keep things in perspective? Does everything either have to be amazing or a hellhole? Can't things be in a kind of middle ground? Maybe it's pretty good, or that street's fucked up, but that place is pretty nice. Or this, you know what I'm saying? It's like just describing things. It's very difficult to be succinct and go, there's one story that tells the story of this thing. Mm-hmm. The thing that is the Ukraine war, the thing that is Los Angeles, the thing that is fucking Wisconsin, right? What's the story of Wisconsin? How are y'all doing? How's the cheese?
Let us know.
All right? Are the Packers going to win? We don't know. All right.
Well, they might. Jordan, I just said, and then I realized I was thinking of the Jets because I always associate Aaron Rodgers with the Packers. But now I'm thinking, on the Jets. We'll see what happens.
I don't know. The point is, some things are unknowable, and the stories are not very simple to like actually. It's very complicated. There's good things, there's bad things. But this stuff is working.
I was just gonna say.
I'm not. People need to put food on their family.
On their family. Dude. Okay.
Now I'm gonna start doing my Trump impression.
Yeah, let's go. Oh yeah. I'm getting
Kamala, laughing Kamala, she's laughing. Okay. No one knows why she's laughing. What's so funny, Kamala? No one knows. Excuse me.
That's good, dude. That's good. I like that. He's got a good one.
I talk as Trump to myself around the house. I talk to my dogs. I do. I'm like, Doc, what are you doing? You know, it's terrible. This is awful. This is a disaster. The new battle's up. It's not good. It used to be good. We need to make the band great again.
I love that. That's such a good impression.
It's fun, dude. It feels good to be, cause you're like, man.
I got the new pup. Maybe I'll have to start talking.
Dude, if you just like, cause you're like always, excuse me, sit down. You're fake news, okay? Like, you really put the world in its place. You know, it's a good, you know, it's fun.
Oh, dude, for all the things that Trump has brought us, good and bad.
Dude, I don't care what you think. I've gone all the way around. Now I'm just. I'm generally entertained.
It goes
by
back
them.
to what exactly. That's the whole thing.
I'm generally entertained.
You can say everything. This is not a political statement here whatsoever. I am thankful for the entertainment, dude. I cannot wait for Saturday Night Live to start up again.
All around. It was like scary.
Oh yeah.
And then it was like really scary. And then it's like, oh, I don't think about it. And now I'm back to like it's just fun.
Yeah, because for me, I've come to that conclusion the same. Because back to what I said, it just doesn't matter now.
No, but I'm saying
it does matter. That's not what I mean.
But I think he's generally funnier than he's ever been.
Dude,
the
like
material.
I said, do you watch SNL?
Yeah. Well, it's not back yet, right?
It's not back yet. That's what I'm saying. I am so excited for SNL to come back during
the only problem
season
is fucking Shane.
With this going on again.
Are you a Shane Gillis fan?
I do like Shane Gillis.
Like his Trump.
I like his stand-up thing. It's so good. It's so good.
Like, and the guy they have, I'm forgetting the actor that does it on SNL. It's great. But Shane's is so good. It's like
I wonder if they'll bring him in because he did host last season.
Yeah, but they have a guy who does Trump great.
He does. What's his name? Yeah, he's one of the newer.
He does it great. But there's something about Shane that I think is like it kind of.
I agree, dude. Did you see? Do you watch the Kil Tony stuff at all?
Just the clips. I've watched a lot of clips.
Yeah, I had Tony Hinchcliffe on this show years ago before he blew up, and with Kil Tony was
he
awesome.
Invited. So I met him at the Comedy Store through my friend Johnny Skirtis, who's actually in the video, in the music video. He plays the clerk. He was in The Equalizer.
Oh, he was?
Yeah, he's an actor and a comedian. And I met
That was
Tony,
another funny scene.
And he's like, oh yeah, we got Kil Tony. He's like, oh, come down, I'll put you on the list. And I messaged him on Instagram and he put me on the list.
Fuck yeah.
This is like right before the pandemic. And then now he's selling out arenas.
Madison Square Garden.
So he might not get back to my Instagram now, but he was cool. Hey, he was cool to me when he didn't have to be. So shout out to Tony.
Tony's great.
He's hilarious.
He's fucking hilarious. His his part on the roast of Tom Brady was unbelievable.
Yeah. He's a killer.
One of the highlights for me from that. But yeah, Shane Gillis on that, and then my other friend, friend of the show, Adam Ray, doing at that time it was Biden.
No, that's good. Because it helps that he kind of looks like he has the look.
I think that Adam Ray and Shane did a great Biden.
See, that's the only downside of Biden dropping out is you don't get it's not as relevant.
But I mean, Kamala. I mean, that means we're probably gonna get what's her name back?
Maya Rudolph.
Maya Rudolph.
Dude, she just bought a new vacation home. She's good.
She's living loot. She just did loot on Apple TV. Yeah. Now she's living loot. Yes.
And well deserved. Maya Rudolph is a treasure.
Super treasure. That's a great way to put it.
She's incredible.
That's a great way to put it, man. Speaking of treasures, and we talked a little bit about music, everything else. I want to talk to you about sports, man. Because since the last time we were here, you and I had a couple phone conversations just this past few months ago about basketball.
Yeah.
I know you told me then that you used to have a column, a sports column.
Yeah.
And so I want to take it to summer sports, baby. Let's get
By the way,
this.
I pretty much am only like an expert on basketball. Everything else, I'm kind of like.
Well, we'll stick to mostly basketball then. Yeah, but I'm a big sports fanatic. The three major food groups, I guess.
Did you play
basketball,
sports?
football, and what's up?
Did you play?
I played a little bit of football.
Yeah.
I played soccer. I dabbled with everything, but the main sport that I played like into high school a little bit was football. But then I got more. Everyone caught up to me in size. I hit puberty earlier. Everyone caught up to me in size, and then I stopped growing. And luckily, I loved music. And
I want to play basketball with Matt.
He's good.
I know. That's what but I was pretty good too. But I just had a lot of back issues and stuff. He'd probably run me out of the gym. But Plus, he's got size too. What is he? 6'3"?
6'1", 6'2".
I'm 6'2".
He's about your height.
Yeah, but he's lean. Like he's fucking.
He works out, man.
I know. I went to Brandon's gym, and I want to go back, but I have this like shoulder thing.
Oh, you went down there?
I did. They have I can't talk about it, but I did a thing down there. But I ran into him, but he was getting it in. Fucking those ropes.
Yeah, dude. He's got an awesome.
Have you been down there?
I haven't worked out with him, but I've checked out the gym. Yeah.
It's sick.
Yeah, it's very sick. It's very cool.
I got done. I'm like, oh, that's what a real workout feels like.
I know, right?
It was sick. You one day you're like, I'm ripped.
Yeah, and then the next day you're like, fuck, I feel weak.
Dude, it was 2 days. It took 2 days for me to like actually like, all right, I need to calm down. But
Yeah.
no, I want to go back, but this shoulder thing is a little scary, so I guess.
Gotta figure that out. Yeah.
This thing got screwed up, and I didn't work out I didn't lift weights for like 2 months, and I was doing yoga and stuff, and I didn't do anything. And I slowly started getting back in it. I was consistent, and then it kind of flared up. So, but I want to go back.
Yeah, I don't do much weights these days.
Yeah.
I actually just started. I'm a month and a half into DDPY.
Yeah, that's what I did for like 5 years.
Dude, that shit's incredible.
It will get you in incredible shape. It's like people don't. By the way, shout out to Diamond Dallas Page.
I just had him on the podcast.
Dude, that's amazing.
Yeah, it'll come. This episode will come out the week after his.
But like, I have a lot of back problems, and it really helps stabilize my core and stuff. And you like when I do that, like that's pretty much all I do.
Yeah,
You know,
and it's good for touring too.
Yeah,
Like,
you just bring your thing, and you find I found like a little corner.
You have your phone. You have the app.
Yep.
It has everything. Tells you what to do, when to do it. You go in the corner.
Don't
and
have to go to a gym. You don't have to go.
Yep.
Yeah, it's awesome.
You right in your hotel room or dressing room. You know, I think I haven't brought it to the road yet, but I am excited to because I'm going to keep doing it, even if I add stuff on it. Yeah, well, I mean, if you keep doing it, there's all the different levels and stuff. Yeah, so I'm in the intermediate plus right now.
Yeah,
a month and a half into
awesome.
it, but I'm loving it. It's great.
Yeah. And the great thing about that is it's your whole body.
Yeah.
It's not just like, oh, I'm doing this. It's
well,
like,
I started having a problem with plantar fasciitis, and I thought it was my feet. I come to find out, it's all coming from my lower back, hips, and glutes.
Yeah.
And God, this is such a fucking old man conversation right now.
No, no, but actually, but let's make a point. I don't, I imagine there's probably people more in our age range watching or listening to this, but if you start doing this shit young, if you start doing core stuff when you're like 25, you won't have back problems like
man.
And
it's hard, and going up on stages and stuff. A lot of people don't realize you're carrying around that fucking thing on your back. I know it's
not that, but it's also too. I think
it's on one spot.
Yeah, so I think all my shit is a lot related to that.
I don't know about for you, but every time I go to get a massage, they point to exactly where my strap is every time. They're like, you feel it right here.
See, we all got to be ergonomic like Matt Heafy from Trivium because he has this dual strap.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm like, yeah, man, but it doesn't look as cool.
We're still so vain. We're still so vain.
Listen, I can't play that good, all right? I need to look cool. This is all I have.
This is all I got going for me, man.
Do not take this away from me.
That's awesome.
See, you know what they need? It needs to be like a strap, like maybe the other strap that can go like underneath, so like people can't see it. Something like that.
There's a way. We'll design something. We'll design something.
That's
together.
right. The cool guy ergonomic strap.
There you go.
Do you want to look cool and also not have your back disintegrate?
We're gonna do a full infomercial and everything for this.
The cool guy back strap. By Dr. Johnny. I'm Doctor, he's Johnny.
Ooh, Dr. Johnny, I like that.
Rolls off tongues like bubblegum shrimp.
Yeah. Ooh. Dude, so back to sports real quick. We were talking about a little bit of athleticism, blah, 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 our sports background a little bit. Last time we were talking, we were discussing the idea of doing like a live podcast together for the NBA playoffs.
Yeah, I remember that.
It was too last minute to throw it together. You're busy, I'm busy doing other stuff. But I do want to keep a pin on that because I think it would be a lot of fun.
Especially if we plan ahead.
If we plan ahead and do it right, I think it's something we could absolutely do, and I think it would be a lot of fun just to be, some of my heroes, the sports analysts.
I'll just do my Stephen A. Like, the unmitigated goal!
I'll bust out my Mad Dog.
Wow, Lamar Odom was on crack! Dude. No, here's what I love about Stephen A. is how he like, Dwayne Wade, very, very good friend of mine.
Oh yeah.
Get real quiet. You know, he showed up in the playoffs, and then it was disaster. You can really yell your way to a lot of money.
Dude, that guy has taken the sports analyst thing to another level with that personality. It is just him.
He's not a sports analyst. He is a WWE announcer.
100%.
It's pure
right.
entertainment.
I don't know what I was thinking.
Much of his.
But there's guys that he's taken that from that done it before. He's doing it his style.
No,
he's gonna be the Hall of Famer, the
most
voice in our
entertaining
head, the voice in our head
yeah.
when we're fucking, sitting on the rocking chairs together, still watching this shit. The voice in our head will be like, yeah, Stephen A. You know.
Oh, I love Stephen A.
So good. So we talked Olympics.
Yeah.
That got mentioned. We mentioned France. First of all, we bring music into that. You saw Gojira, obviously. How cool fucking was that?
Dude, honestly, it's like if heavy metal was like a stock, it doubled in price in one day. I literally think, I don't know how many people watch that, but it's got to be in the tens of millions.
Yeah, it's got it. You're talking about the whole world.
Yeah.
It's not just America,
Yeah, absolutely.
We're used to those numbers.
Again, it's not like they're, like a mainstream act. Like it wasn't like it was like Hailstorm or something that's a little more palatable to like normal people or like more of a rock band. Like they're a band with extreme metal roots, death metal roots, and such a credit to like France, right? Because I'm sure there's a million wonderful artists coming out of France that could have done that in many genres. So the fact that they chose Gojira, and by the way, I'm really pissed off because that song, I guess it's a reimagining of a historical like song like in their culture. Yeah, and I guess they made it. And I'm like, why can't I download that song? I want that.
They'll come out with that. They got to come out with that. Gojira should just.
Dude, that should have been on iTunes like the day it came out. It'd be like it would have been number one. But dude, so special, and they're a special band.
Yeah.
There's something about them that kind of like you cannot replicate their success, their trajectory, just everything about. They know exactly what they're doing, and it's no compromises,
right,
top to bottom. And proud of them, proud of metal. Like I feel like dude, if you watch movies or TV shows, anytime there's a metalhead in a movie or show, they're usually like a killer or like the school bully. Like we don't got a good track record in media. So
right.
And they're like environmentalists, and they're well spoken and heartfelt and genuine, and so I think they're probably the best ambassadors we have going.
That's a good point. I got a little jealous. So, but you're right.
Listen, LA coming up. They had Snoop. They had Dr. Dre, right?
You're gonna have Dr. Johnny coming to you.
You guys got. We're
gonna be there with our cool straps by then.
But do we have to wait for the Olympics to come to Huntington Beach?
No. I'll make the drive.
Well, no, they had Red Hot Chili Peppers. Do you know those guys?
I've never met him. No. I did this to Flea once.
Gave him one of these.
He was.
Are you a Lakers fan?
He was nice enough to give me one back, though.
Are you a Lakers fan? Because he's like the ultimate Lakers fan.
Massive, my brother. That's what we were talking about. Yeah. The Knicks were in the fucking playoffs, looking good.
Yeah.
The Lakers, and it was right before, and I was still feeling good about the Lakers. Because here's the thing, and I said it. Everyone can go back. I talked about it on this podcast. I thought, and I was wrong, whoever came out between the first round Lakers Nuggets was coming out of the West.
I would have agreed with you. Well, I thought the Nuggets were going to go to.
Most people did, and I thought that was our chance. We knocked them out. We could run the table. Didn't happen. But what I will say, what I didn't like, is everybody on fucking TV afterwards and everyone around saying like the Nuggets were quote unquote toying with them the whole time. It was all bullshit. You saw the series that happened afterward. That was not the same fucking team. The Lakers took them to fucking the very brink.
Well, I think it's the exact opposite. I think the Nuggets match up extremely well with the Lakers, and I think the Wolves match up extremely well with the Nuggets. So
I agree.
So it's just a matchup thing.
It's not just a matchup thing though, because dude, Jamal Murray couldn't come back out and do what he did after that series. They were down 73% of the time in that series. The Nuggets were
with the Lakers.
Yes.
Yeah, but dude, it's the same way the previous year. It's just Dude, the Nuggets just have their number.
They do. I'm not denying that. I'm not that much of diehard to not understand the reality.
And I feel like the Lakers have to play perfect against them. If they do anything wrong, it's like boom, they score 8 points in 2 seconds.
Yeah, because that was the other thing is that the Lakers last season had a great idea of how they were going to tackle that series. What happened is they kept losing the chance to close it.
Yeah, but okay. So here's the main thing. One, when they won the title, they had Dwight Howard. And I forget, it was like
Rajon Rondo.
Just a lot of size. And they were throwing a lot of size at Jokic. And I think that's how the Timberwolves, they had those two centers. And that just, if you can kind of, again, you're never going to stop Joker. But if you can make things really hard for him and muck it up and just give him a lot of bodies. And another big thing is just Aaron Gordon, man. Like, Aaron Gordon is literally, I think he guards LeBron the best out of anyone, and he just always chops him up because he's always cutting, and he's like, dude,
he's got the size to.
Yeah, but like I feel like LeBron is like if he has to guard him, he's always gonna go back door. Like he just has that little bit because of LeBron's age, that little bit of athletic advantage that almost very few people have in the league. So I just think it's a bad matchup. But this year it's like, dude, you know what I wish? This is my little dream. That LeBron would go play for the Warriors. After seeing him and Steph play, I'm like,
oh, I want that, but I want that in purple and gold.
Yeah, but they're. Yeah, but I feel like it's more likely.
It is. I'm not denying that.
More likely it would go the other way. I'm actually trying to think what team would be better if LeBron went to Warriors or if Steph went to the Lakers. Probably Lakers because at least you still have AD. You have AD, and that's a pretty big link.
And what's the one thing? D'Angelo Russell. First of all, before I say anything, when we're talking about players, armchair. This is straight up armchair. Yeah. These are all phenomenal players and everything like that. It's not a knock on them at all. But if there is a weak link out of the quote unquote stars of the Lakers, it's D'Angelo Russell.
In the playoffs, he's great in the regular season.
And he had he even had a couple games that he was fucking looking amazing.
Yeah, but then he disappeared. Or like he disappeared. He'll do stuff. It'll be like 10 minutes where everything he does is dumb. For like 10 straight minutes, you're like, what is?
And it's dumbfounding as well because you're like, what is it?
I know it is. I think when you're think about this guy. He's a number 2 pick. He's that kind of guy, when you watch him, everything looks easy. The way he moves.
When he's on, dude.
He gets to his spots. No, but I think part of being that talented at something, dude, especially when you're like 6'2", right? You didn't get to the league. And by the way, he was never dunking on people. You're doing it with skill and guile, but it's also confidence. So all the confidence that tells you, man, I'm going to do this, boom, 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 when you're rolling, you still have that same confidence when you're not rolling. So there's still the same voice in your head telling you, do this, do that. I got this, even though you don't got it, right? So I think he's one of those guys where it's just hot or cold, and they don't necessarily have that kind of like inner voice of like letting the game come to them.
Could they turn the volume up on that inner voice though? Do you think?
I don't know. I think so much, like he should probably be like a 6-man. Like to me, like on a good team, because he can come in, you can run your second unit. But because the truth at the end of the day, LeBron is the point guard. So, but they
defer to him a lot though in the system.
But I just think with the Lakers basically did the perfect unraveling of a championship team. They got rid of all the what do you surround LeBron with? 3-and-D guys. So KCP gone. Danny Green gone. Kyle Kuzma gone. Alex Caruso gone. All the people that play defense and can shoot, they got rid of. And just the roster construction, they just blew it. And they thought they needed more ball handling and shot creators, and it just, it
was the Westbrook trade.
Well, I mean, it's one of the worst trades of all time. But I knew that at the second. I'm like, everyone who knew anything was like,
I knew it was bad, but as a Lakers fan, you try to hold on hope and go, well, If anyone could get him to play the right way for the team, again, Westbrook is an amazing player, Hall of Famer. Anyone could get him to play with this thing, it would be LeBron.
Yeah, but it's not. But they're not compatible. Two guys who need the ball.
I just thought somehow they can't shoot. I was praying, man.
No, but it's like if he's going to become 2012 to 2014 Dwayne Wade, who's going to play off the ball, who's going to cut and play all world defense. Yeah, but he's not going to do that. They were like Zach Lowe was talking about, like he won't set screens. So like he just doesn't know. He only knows how to play.
He looked good when he went to the Clippers.
Because look at the Clippers. Everyone can shoot.
Yeah.
And everyone can play off ball.
So it works. So he's
dishing. It worked. He's
doing his dishing.
And then when they got Harden, he moved to the bench, and by the time Harden, he was barely playing 20 minutes a game. He was good in his role, but he needs to be surrounded by shooters, and they're not that team. It's literally the worst team. Like it made no basketball sense at all.
I agree.
So and what they had to give up for it because he made so much money, it was just I thought it was a.
All right, let's get off the past though, because it's hurting to talk about that as a Lakers fan a little bit.
I keep it real.
Because you're absolutely right. I know all this is true. Fucking sucks a little bit, but we're okay. We're still playoff team. We still got chances. And this year, let's talk about this upcoming season then. What are some of your predictions here? Because the umbrella has already come down, and you can see the dismantling of some of the quote unquote super teams in the league. Some other ones have gotten stronger.
I don't think we have super teams anymore.
I don't think we do either. There's just so much fucking talent out there now.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. That's a thing in the past.
We have the closest thing to parity.
Yeah.
As we've ever had and may ever have.
In sports in general, I mean, you have your outliers. Don't get me wrong. You'll always have that, but in general, you have people who've devoted their entire lives, adult men, women in professional sports that have devoted and were literally put on this planet in many ways to do those things since they were 2-4 years old with a ball in their hand. It's no longer of our parents' age where this guy had a normal fucking job as a store clerk and just loves to play the game.
Well, as they say, it was you've heard this thing, like it's kind of like an internet joke that Michael Jordan was playing against plumbers.
Well, by the time he was winning championships, I think there was more money in the NBA.
No, it was. It's more, there was this guy like he was on YouTube and Twitter. He would just be like, do like voiceovers, like, look at this guy. It's like Greg Elo or something, like an actual like professional guy, but it's just because it's like a white dude. They're like, look at this fucking accountant. Like I'm like that. It's not really true, but like, the kind of joke is like back in the day, like Bob Cousy and stuff. Like literally, these guys would. Because they didn't make that much money playing basketball, so they would have other jobs. They'd be like mailman or some shit, and then they would, So I think JJ Redick got in trouble for saying like Bob Cousy played against like plumbers. Fucking...
I mean, it's not wrong though. Like it's just the facts. It's just the fucking facts.
That's being a Renaissance man, right? I wish I knew how to fix the plumbing.
Yeah, no,
I gotta call somebody.
I don't fucking do
that's $80 an hour.
No, dude, that's a fucking serious skill.
That's what I'm saying. We should applaud the plumbers who could also grab a rebound.
Absolutely. But in that there's all the parodies. Let's talk about this season though coming up though. Yeah, JJ Redick is going to be coaching the Lakers. We'll see how that works out. Yeah. I'm hopeful. Do you listen to him on his podcast, by the way? Just him and LeBron?
Yeah. I never actually. I watched clips
Mind
of
the
it.
Game?
Yeah, but I saw them like they had the whiteboard out.
I listened through. I've mostly clips, but I've listened to about 3 episodes all the way front to back to get like more context of how.
No,
the
I've
show
watched
works.
his show, or like I used to listen to his show even back when it was on The Ringer.
Okay, was that the Old Man and the Three?
This is before that.
Well, before that.
It was just called like the JJ Redick show, I think.
Oh shit. Okay, I wasn't even aware of that.
So I'm deep in the streets. Okay.
Yeah, I see that. I see
level.
that, man. Fuck. So yeah, that's hopeful when you listen to them, the two LeBron and JJ talk. It's kind of like, all right, they at least got a plan. I don't know what it is, but they got.
Yeah, but at least they're keeping it real, which is like LeBron is a coach on the floor.
100%.
So you have to. You're co-coaching the team, basically.
Absolutely. And that's what it's going to be, so I'm hopeful. I want to see how it works out. We mentioned the Clippers. Clippers Paul George is no longer there. Kawhi Leonard, everybody knows, never really plays. just the reality of it.
Well, the playoffs, he actually played quite a bit the regular season last year, but he's been hurt in the playoffs like 3 years,
one of the
3
others,
years in a row.
And I know that struggle too with Anthony Davis. He was like that for a long time last
But he's
season.
been pretty good
He's
lately.
Been fucking good. But so it's not. I'm not saying that to throw shade on Kawhi. It's just a fact. They're like he's not reliable in that sense.
That's right. He got knees like boiled chicken.
And it's unfortunate because he's such a fucking talent. But
yeah.
And now you got Paul George is gone. You still got Harden and Westbrook, I guess. I mean, and they're going into the
Westbrook is on the Nuggets.
Oh, is he? Oh, that's right. I forgot about that trade. So they're clearly got to redo stuff.
They're just running the clock out on those guys.
Yeah.
I don't think they're.
And it's right before they go into that new arena too.
Whatever, they'll be fine.
Yeah, the arena will be fine.
I just don't know what.
Clippers aren't gonna be fine. They're always gonna be the Clippers.
Yeah, but here's what I don't get. If you're
from New York, you know what it's like when you have the main team and the secondary team.
Well, but I also have a very keen memory of, was it 5 years ago when both the Nets and the Clippers were the ones who cleaned up. The Nets got Kyrie and Kevin Durant, and the Clippers got
But how
Paul
did that
George.
work out for both those teams?
It didn't work out, but not because, wasn't because that's just happenstance. It didn't work out. It's just the Clippers.
But that's my point. That always happens to the Clippers,
Yeah,
the
but
Nets, the
but
Mets.
here's the thing. All you want is a shot.
Yeah.
If you have a shot, you can't. No one's guaranteed to win.
Absolutely.
But if you have a chance to win every year, that's better than the alternative. So both teams made good moves, and it just didn't work out. But I don't think that's a disparaging thing. And the Nets, they had a pretty good team. They had, not that long before that, when they had Darren Williams and Joe Johnson and KG and all that, and they had some good teams, and I think they're a smart organization. They'll probably be back. Teams don't, if you're a good organization, you're not going to suck for long. You're going to, and some of these, you see Utah, they're never that bad for that long. The Pacers, they're never that bad for that long.
That's true.
OKC was bad for 1 year. Now they're
They're
back.
fucking awesome. They're ran so well.
But think about it, they're on their third version of an awesome team in 15 years. They keep just reloading. Mm-hmm. So the good organizations know what they're doing. And so with the Clippers, I think it's, they have some great talent, but it just didn't quite work out, Mm-hmm. But they got a little bit of that curse. But if I was Steve Ballmer, I would just move the team to Seattle.
Dude,
you're the Microsoft guy.
He knows that, but it's already done.
I know.
Or even Orange County, or just go even to Orange County.
But is there just that much more money to be made being in LA?
Yeah, that's what it is.
All right. Well, he knows money.
He's goddamn right.
Is he the richest owner out of all of them?
It's a great question. I don't have the answer to. Maybe someone at home can tell us. Right down here in the comments. But
send us some money, Steve.
Yeah, I'll take some.
It's like half a bill.
So let's get to your Knicks though.
Yeah.
Had a great season. They've been rebuilding for a while now. They finally got some real pieces. They went down again. It was a classic. Everyone is talking about how gritty and awesome the Knicks were last season. I agree. It was such a classic Thibodeau team. Injuries, and you're down to your fucking 5 guys, and those 5 guys just show up and they fucking keep winning games, but it's your last fucking 5 guys on the fucking bench.
Yeah. Once OG went down, I was like, they're not winning the Pacers series.
No, that was done. But
they still took it to 7, but I was just like, I didn't.
But it always ends up being scrappy with with Thibodeau teams.
Yeah.
It always, if you get to the playoffs with them, you can get going, but you just can't get up them because it seems like everybody's always injured.
Well, you can't. But here's the downside, right? What makes Tibbs teams amazing in the regular season is they will always play harder than everyone. Mm. But once you get to the playoffs, everyone plays hard.
Yeah.
Right. So you lose that kind of advantage. And if you look at the Tibbs teams, like the Chicago teams, which are great, but they were never they'd always have the number 1 record. I think maybe except that 1 year that Miami, I think when they first
Miami,
when they won 16.
Well, they had a better. To your point, though, you had better. The Bulls had better records than the Cavs when LeBron was there.
But they would always be the
Celtics.
better regular season team. But no one ever thought they were more talented than those Miami teams. And when it came down to those close games, talent won, right? I think it's because this team that they have on paper I mean, might be as talented as almost anyone in the league. Maybe not as talented, quite as talented as Boston. Maybe not quite as talented as OKC, but they're right there. And so you got to see, but the games are not played on paper. So you got to see how this team plays because it's a very non-conventional historical contender. Because teams are usually built around this one superstar, this secondary superstar, 3 stars. And this team is built around, they're a team with what I call all-star role players. So I call all-star role player like a Draymond Green.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. So he's a guy who, he's not scoring 30 a game, but he's the guy, he's like, you know, he's playing all-world.
He also does so much more than what he does on the mentality that he brings
all that
to
stuff.
it.
But what I'm saying is, or like Andre Iguodala was like this. He was an all-star role player. By the way, literally made an all-star game or two because he has all-star talent. And I think that, you know, a guy like Mikal Bridges has all-star talent, but what you need them to do might not look like what people think an all-star is. So I think this team is a lot closer to like a 2011 Mavericks team or 2004 Pistons, where yes, you might have like this, you know, 1 or 2 leading scorer type guys, but it's like built like a fucking fist, man. Like it is so well crafted, and everyone, like the defense and the shooting, it's pretty fucked up. Like what OG and Mikal Bridges do, there's like 4 guys in the whole league that can do that, and they have 2 of them.
Yeah.
Like and again, you got to see it. You got to see it actually play out. And again, Randall wasn't there. This guy was 24, 10, and 5.
Lakers fans are familiar with Randall.
Yeah, but he's, for the first time since he was with New Orleans, people don't realize, so the year before the Knicks signed him, he was coming off the bench for New Orleans. He averaged 20 and 10, shooting like 58% off the bench. And this was like when Anthony Davis was on New Orleans and Drew Holiday. So he didn't have a lot of responsibility, but he was putting up basically all-star numbers with insanely high efficiency because he could be the 3rd guy. And now he doesn't have to do as much. And I think if he can find his right role, it's like, I think this team's going to be pretty nuts. And again, at the end of the day, all these teams, no matter how good you are, how healthy are you? And outside of the Porzingis missing some time, the Boston had basically perfect health.
Yeah.
You know, and they kind of proved that they didn't really need Porzingis to win, even though when he came to the finals, he won basically the first game by himself.
That first game was insane.
You know,
no one saw that coming.
Yeah, and so, you know, but I think they're going to be right there. Still think Boston, you have to give them the advantage because I think once you win, you have the confidence of a winner.
Yeah.
And you're like,
It pains me to say it, but like that, I see them.
Yeah, and they
possibly
play.
repeat.
Those top 6 guys, they play as well together as any.
It's a well put together team.
It's just like their flow is perfect.
And it pains me to say that as a Lakers fan, but I also as I grow, I respect. I respect the shit out of it.
But I also think too. I think, you know, they kind of caught a good matchup. And I think if
totally.
I think OKC would have been tougher in the finals. I think Denver. I would have picked Denver.
I would have picked Denver. Denver
because I don't think they would have any answer for Jokic.
Well, the East doesn't, with the exception of Embiid and Adebayo, you don't really have anyone to really match up with Jokic. No one can.
Yeah, but think about it. I think the Boston's Achilles heel is size, and they got lucky. They didn't have to face Giannis. They didn't have to face Embiid. They didn't have to face Joker. They didn't have to face the Twin Towers in Minnesota.
Yeah, you're
so they got completely lucky. That ain't happening again. Fair. You're gonna have to go.
They're gonna have to go do it, but now they now they have the confidence.
And Philly looks great.
Good. On paper again.
Yeah, and no, but I'm like I think that Philly team is really good. I think their only downside, obviously, you have to rely on Embiid and Paul George to be healthy, but their whole team is built out of veterans. So you're like, will they hold
Maxey.
up?
Maxey's young.
Maxey's awesome. Not counting Maxey and maybe who's the shooting guard they just re-signed? I'm forgetting his name. But anyway, they like it's a lot of veterans.
Yeah.
And on good contracts and stuff. And I really like the way their team is put together. and I think they're going to be really good if they're healthy.
I agree.
But I'm saying like Boston, again, Al Horford, year older. Is he going to be as good? Is he,
And he's a big piece.
huge. If he's gone, it's like, to me, he's like what Iguodala was for the Warriors, where it's like, if you remove him, it alters what they can do, right? Because he's basically your Kristaps insurance. So when KP isn't healthy, he comes in and just fills that role, and he's awesome. You're another level when you do have Kristaps, but he kind of maximizes it. Like after 20 minutes a game, he's not as effective,
Right.
But that team, because they're so expensive, they have like one more year with this lineup, and they're probably gonna have to shake it up because they can't afford to pay everybody.
Right, which is what I talked about at the top of that was the umbrella taking effect and stuff. In that, we just covered a little bit of it, and we got to tie a bow on this a little bit here and get back to Bad Wolves. The Eastern Conference, we just talked about it. Where are your Knicks lining up this season?
I would say.
What's the ceiling? What's the ceiling for the Knicks this season?
I mean, they could win the title this year.
Okay.
I don't think they're going to win the title this year, but they could. But I wouldn't be surprised if they won, 55 games, Eastern Conference Finals. I think that's like probably where they're at. But again, health pending, and also we haven't seen the team.
This is without all that, of course. We're just we're fantasy.
I mean,
fantasy looking at it.
I don't think Boston's going to be as they won I think 64 games, 65. They won a ton of. They were by far the best regular season team, but I think the league is better. I think the top talent, and by the way, Milwaukee I think is going to be better this year.
Yes.
I think a lot of the West Coast teams improved. You have Memphis is finally going to have their full complement of guys back. New Orleans got somebody awesome. I forgot, they traded for a fucking great. So like teams are going to be good. A lot of these younger teams, Orlando's going to be better.
Orlando's going to be real good.
I think Indiana, people are still sleeping on Indiana like they didn't
crush it. They're a fucking great team.
Yeah, everyone's kind of treating them like an afterthought. I think
because the style of play with the offense, just scoring so many points, there's still that stigma of not being able to trust that in the postseason. But they did well in the postseason, so I don't know.
But I just think there's going to be a handful of teams that are tanking, but I think San Antonio's going to be better. They're not going to be a 20-win team.
That's another one of those teams that's not going to be down for very long.
Yeah,
you see that the way that they rebuild by grabbing, they're going to get another first-round pick or top pick, and to pair with fucking Wembanyama.
But you will see
that's Robinson and fucking Duncan if I ever saw it.
But you're going to see the third or the last third of the season. Teams that aren't, it's not happening, whether it's like Utah or some teams like that or Atlanta, they're going to cut things because everyone's going to be trying to get Cooper Flag.
Yeah.
And, and apparently he's great, but apparently it's a really good draft. So I think it's going to be harder to rack up, 65 wins. I think the top end of the East, I think is just going to be stronger in general. But I think, Boston's also going to have that target on their back now. And everyone's going to be gunning for him. But I think the Knicks built a team that is very compatible with that. And I think the Knicks have played them well in general recently. And so I'm feeling very good about the Knicks.
All right, we'll tie a bow on this part of the conversation by saying if the Knicks and the Lakers end up in the finals, we're going together.
All right. If that happens, dude.
What else?
Listen, the Lakers, I just don't see it.
I'm gonna hold on to hope because you still have Anthony Davis and LeBron. You still have Anthony Davis and LeBron. I think you have a chance.
You have a chance, but it's. I just feel like they just have not put the right team, and you can't, dude. And by the way, as a Lakers fan, I can tell watching the Olympics. You're like, those were maybe the best, the best guy on the team, the third best guy on the team. Like they are. Yeah. You're like, it makes you actually watching the Olympics actually makes me angry as a Lakers fan.
Oh, totally.
Because I'm like, these guys are as good as anyone.
Yeah.
And how are they not? They're not surrounding them with the right talent. Like, oh wow, when they have spacing, and when Anthony Davis doesn't have to literally do everything on defense, he can fucking shut down everybody. So
dude, he did a great job against Jokic in that series too that we were talking about.
Well, but he's good as a I like what they do where they'd have him as the center as a roamer.
Right.
So you could help on Jokic as opposed to having to be the.
No,
I mean, you
totally.
can't. Listen,
no one's gonna stop.
You can't.
We're not talking about that.
Yeah, Jokic is the most unsolvable problem.
He's so cool, dude.
Yeah.
He's so cool. I love when he came out looking like Gru and just owned it. It was so good.
I'll say this though about Jokic. People don't talk about this. They're like, oh, how does he get space? He elbows every time.
Oh yeah.
When he's going around, and one time they like actually called one of he got the foul because it was like really egregious. But he fucking gets around you with elbows all the time, and they never call it. You know, but he's still great.
Yeah, he's still great.
Everyone has a move.
Yeah. All right, dude. So we covered the sports. We covered everything. We've been going for a while. Let's.
How drunk do I look?
Let's leave it to the audience. Let's leave it to the audience. How drunk is he yet?
Camera 9.
Well, we were talking and going to be on the show. You mentioned that there's news with Bad Wolves as well. You guys got some new songs you've been working on. What can you tell me there? I did get to hear some stuff. How much can I talk about?
You can talk about whatever you want. I mean,
I got the 3 songs that you sent me.
Yeah.
Hands down, favorite one is the one you changed the name from one thing to, was it Medicate?
Yeah.
That's hands down out of the 3 you sent me.
That's coming out first.
Smart.
So we had 2 songs called Home.
Is that why it was? Okay.
Yeah, and it's funny. Actually, I have to like call my A&R person because I realized they were like, they have this new title for one of the songs, but it's the lyrics from the other song, and I think they're making a mistake, and I gotta make sure they don't do that before it goes out.
I'm glad you're thinking about that now.
Are you like, do you guys do that where you have a placeholder title and then you just figure it out before the album comes out? You always know what it's called.
It's always I think it's extremely rare for a song title to stick through the writing process and all the way to what you see on an album.
Yeah. But yeah, that song's coming out first. And so basically, like with we've done this, I guess, with our last album where you make a record, but you'll have, like 3, we always write so many songs. And like some of those songs will be finished, some will be half finished, some will just, there's music, but we never finish vocals. And so we basically had one that was done, but then a couple that were like almost done, and then we'd like finish them, and then we'll, like the way things kind of work now is, in a weird way, your B-sides become like almost new singles because you can put them out, you maybe make a small video, and then they get featured on Spotify, they'll end up in a playlist, and they actually get more attention than if it was like track 8 on your record that no attention is paid.
Right.
And so your B-sides almost like become like, sometimes they don't make, I feel like for us, a B-side often, not that it's not as good, it just doesn't fit with,
right.
whatever.
What the theme of the album is.
Yeah, but sometimes they're like often some of my favorite songs.
Right.
So it's actually really cool. And, but it's tough though, because you're like, all right, they want to do a special edition and we'll have like remixes and like an acoustic version and a cup, and the idea is just, here's the new version of the album, but here's all this extra cool stuff, so that it kind of reinvigorates some life into the record. People can go back and check it out, but also kind of play some of these songs, and it's cool because we'll play the song live and we'll get to, it's like, I don't know, it's kind of having almost like a second shot at the record, but it is like, it does also feel like the work never ends. It's like you feel like you're making the record for like 2 years, but it's cool. So it's coming out in November, I believe. I know there's some calls like they might push it back. So hopefully I don't get made stupid by saying that. But they're trying to put their song out next month, and it's cool. It's really fun. Yeah, one of the songs we wrote with Jason Hook.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Five Finger.
Yeah, I know Jason. I had him on the podcast.
And he played the guitar solo on it.
Oh, sick. So, he's a great dude. I love Jason.
So sick. And I really like that song.
Yeah.
I think that's gonna come out when the actual release comes out.
You guys send me the rest of it, man.
Well, as far as those are only the new songs. So it's the whole album plus so you have like the songs that aren't out yet.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
No, dude, I do like all 3 songs. I loved Medicate, whatever. Yeah, the one the first one everyone's gonna get to hear after this. Really awesome. Glad to hear you guys making new music. As I said, got to have a fun chat with John when we were down at your guys' acoustic thing.
And we announced the tour.
Yeah, is that
yesterday?
You announced it yesterday.
Yeah.
What's that tour about?
We're doing a co-headline tour with Pop Evil.
Okay.
And there's a band Sierra Pilot and Oni. I don't know if you know any Jake from Oni.
I don't. No.
Really cool band. But yeah, we're just doing like mostly like I don't know, East Coast, Midwest, and like down south. But that's happening in November, called the Animal Instinct Tour. Pretty excited.
Awesome,
for
man.
that. So yeah,
Co-headliner,
we're doing some festivals, playing Rocklahoma with
We're
you
going to
guys
be doing Rocklahoma together. That's literally
in like a week.
a week.
Yeah.
Shit, better get going.
And then Aftershock. You guys playing Aftershock? Mm-mm. Okay, yeah, we're playing Aftershock, and then then I'm doing Metal Allegiance, Allstar metal band. It's like Mike Portnoy from Dream Theater.
Oh yeah.
Dave Ellison from Megadeth, and Alex
Couple of my
Skolnick,
buddies.
Testament. Mark Mengi plays with Joe Satriani, and who else is in that band? Is that everyone? But we like John Bush from Anthrax is going to be there, Troy from Mastodon, and Dave Davidson from Revocation. So I got a bunch of songs to learn for that. Playing in Jersey.
When is that?
That's September 7th.
Okay.
I want to say, and then God Forbid is doing a couple more shows. We're going to be celebrating the 20th anniversary of our Gone Forever album, and we're going to be playing the whole album at Metal Injection Fest in Brooklyn, September 20th or 21st, excuse me, with Ginger.
Okay.
And that'll be sick. And then we're headlining the New England Metal Fest pre-party day before. So come out to that.
Busy man.
Trying.
How was those shows been? I'm so glad you're still doing more of the God Forbid stuff, because the last time we talked on this podcast, you were just about to start doing that.
Yeah. Well, we did, the last thing we did was the Lamb of God cruise.
Okay.
Last year in fall, like around Halloween, and it was awesome. We did like the 3 shows on the boat, and we played 2 shows with Lacuna Coyle and 1 show with Hatebreed, kind of warming up. And it's funny like doing something like that where it's like 6 shows, and we're like, you almost feel like you're on tour basically. And it was interesting like playing the Lacuna Coyle shows, because that's not like exactly our audience, but it was still like good. But like in a weird way, I just felt like we were a new band, because we had people who knew the band, but a lot of people, they don't know the band. So you're just like, you feel like you're just like out there like, I'm exposing my band. I'm trying to, yes, it's called God Forbid. We have albums, you should, but you felt like you're like a scrappy upstart. Like
that's an interesting perspective for you guys, though, I got to imagine, though, considering like we talked about last time too, all the bands that God Forbid took out and did tours with that eventually became what was known as the metalcore scene and stuff.
Yeah.
And you guys are like the pioneers of all this. This was so fucking funny to hear, people just discovering God Forbid.
Well, but it's,
so I mean,
it makes sense though. I mean, right?
It does.
If
It's
you
just a
weren't
unique
there,
perspective, right?
if you didn't see that, it's like, if like you never watched a Martin Scorsese film, but then you watched a Quentin Tarantino film, like you don't, unless you don't know.
Fair.
And so
I like the comparison down there.
Yes, I like to compare myself to Martin Scorsese all the time. One of the Oscar-winning metalcore band. But when I say that they didn't know it, like I mean it totally in a positive way.
Yeah.
It made it fun. But it also like made you realize that like the music itself has its. It didn't feel like, oh, we're doing some throwback thing. It felt current. It felt like, oh, if we wrote this now and put it out, it wouldn't like feel alien against whatever's going on in music. And it's just fun. It's fun to like see someone in the crowd who like, oh, this is like discover it in real time. But at the same time, you're just like enjoying it because it's like, man, this is fun,
Yeah.
And you don't have those stakes of like, oh, this has to work, or it has to be this, or it has whatever. It needs to sell this many records. It's just like, it's just an experience. And then we got on the boat, and it's literally like our tribe. It's like, it's a metal cruise, but it's of bands of our era. And but it's a lot of that too. Like I remember, have you ever done one of those cruises?
No, I've never done any cruises.
So like, they do have like areas where it's like the bands can eat, where you're not in the public general.
Yeah.
But but a lot of time I would just go eat up at the regular buffet, and you'd like be sitting there eating, and you'd hear people like talking about, man, I called God Forbid. That was cool, man. I never heard it. And it's like, but it would have happen so that you'd have like some.
They wouldn't recognize you off the stage, huh?
I mean, sometimes you would, but sometimes they wouldn't.
Yeah.
But like, but you would see like the band like Malevolence was on there, or Bleed From Within, 2 like British bands that are just crushing it. And they would play like the little stage, and the first day it'd be like, you know, a good crowd. But then the second time they play, even bigger. It almost like the word would spread, and it's like it's a really cool environment because the people that are gonna go on a cruise are not fair weather people. It's like it's like people who really love the culture.
You're gonna be you have to be. You're out on a boat with us. You ain't going anywhere.
but it's connoisseurs.
Right.
It's people who really appreciate the details of everything, and it's just fun, man, to kind of just see it exist against a different backdrop.
That is interesting.
And again, we're not people. Guys, are you doing a record? Doing this? It's like literally everything we've done is like, hey, you guys want to do this one thing, and then we do that one thing, and there's not a whole lot of like
planning ahead or anything. Yeah.
No, because it's you know, guys have families, guys have jobs. It's hard for them to get time off to do things, so we can't really. You know, if it was up to me, I'd probably do a lot more. But you know, it is what it is, and I think that's okay. And my main thing is like, do we have fun? Is it cool? Are we enjoying each other's being? You know, just like, you know, because that's like my family, and it's like family. You have to plan family stuff. It's like we will be getting together for Thanksgiving. It is 4th of July. We would get together, and you have to put effort into keeping your family together and spending quality time. And that's what the band is. That's what the band is like for me. It's like, we have to schedule this so that we can be bros, you know, because we live far apart.
Right, and you got everybody's got their own lives. They're doing their own things, and it's great that you guys get to come back to there. Yeah. And I'm glad that you pointed out, like, ask the questions: Is this fun for me? Am I having a good time? Those kind of things. I think that's a good way to end this episode, because I think that is a poignant thing to say and to take into life in general.
That's right.
Are you having a good time? Are you enjoying yourself? Are you loving the people you're with? That's what it should be all about. And everything else will come, I think.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I'm a little high.
Yeah.
We're having a good time.
Is there like stuff in that?
Oh yeah, the first drink had lemonade that has THC in it.
Good Lord.
And then this one just has 10 milligrams, just a seltzer.
Floating on sunshine.
Hey.
Yeah. Cheers, Steve.
Cheers, brother. Thanks, everybody, for checking it out. We'll see you next time. Cheers.
Dr. Johnny's coming soon.